Chapter 211. On this day, Sangshu found Lu Wu again and told him a piece of bad news. The Hidden Dragon Ghost General of the Hidden Dragon District in the land of Sangshu had sworn allegiance to Yuanshu. At the same time, he was ready to mobilize all his forces to eradicate the threat of the players in the Hidden Dragon Village. Originally, the Hidden Dragon Ghost General was worried that if a full-scale war broke out between his forces and the players, he would have to suffer too many losses. It would be a problem if he could gain a foothold in the land of Sangshu in the future. However, things are different now. From the Hidden Dragon Ghost General's point of view, with Yuanshu as his backer, the future of the land of Sangshu would be unified. Even if his forces were to suffer some losses, it would be insignificant. Moreover, the Hidden Dragon District was his territory. This foreign force would be eradicated sooner or later. Hence, he was prepared to launch a full-scale attack on the army of Xian Su, either to eliminate or drive them out of his territory. This matter naturally could not be delayed. After discussing with Sangshu, Lu Wu decisively announced that the Beiki Expeditionary Force would set off in 3 hours. At this stage, Yuanshu had yet to integrate the forces of Sangshu. He was still wandering among the forces of the land of Sangshu. Hence, they had to take the lead and remove some threats first. After the expedition announcement, a large number of players began to gather at the Mansion of the Dead to prepare for the expedition in 3 hours. After knowing that Lu Wu's support was coming, Sangshu also began to prepare for it. At this time, the European server players were everywhere outside the Hidden Dragon Village. After Sangshu made the announcement, they already realized that a war was coming and were ready to fight to the death. During this period of confrontation with the Hidden Dragon Ghost General's forces, they had already witnessed the powerful strength of this Ghost General Peak powerhouse. They also knew that with their current strength, it would still be difficult to resist this wave of attack. When densely packed figures in copper armor appeared near the Hidden Dragon Swamp, the European server players clenched their fists. If they were defeated in this war, they would have no place in the land of Sangshu. Without the resurrection point and safe zone, they could only wander around the land of Sangshu. It was impossible for them to gather such a large force again. Facing the densely packed enemy forces, the European server players were determined and prepared to fight to the death. Compared to the Hidden Dragon Army's exquisite equipment, the European servers' players appeared to be in a terrible state. There were very few players with red and purple equipment, and the mounts of the knights were also varied. Apart from a few who managed to capture swamp crocodiles, swamp deer, and other decent mounts, the lower-ranked knights didn't have any mounts at all. Most of the middle-ranked knights were awkwardly riding on small wild boars that they caught in the outer regions of the swamp. They looked like a bunch of rabble. Of course, there were also experts in the European server. For example, Lionheart wore a full set of level 40 purple equipment and rode an Earth Dragon mount. He stood in front of the army of players, looking like a commander. For example, Li Xing, Jason, and the others, all of them had purple flowing lights flickering on their bodies. Basically, the equipment and weapons of the members of the Zero Guild were very eye-catching. After all, they had a very rich sponsor like Jason, and the overall equipment of the guild was far ahead of everyone else. The Zero Guild was also the pillar of support for the upcoming war. At this moment, the Hidden Dragon Army that appeared in the outer regions of the swamp quickly retreated to both sides. A giant upright lizard man that was about 5 meters tall slowly walked out from within, holding a long wooden staff. He looked at the European server's camp from afar, his eyes filled with coldness. The Hidden Dragon Ghost General didn't know how this force appeared in his territory. However, during this period of time, facing the crazy harassment of the players, he had reached the point where he couldn't bear it anymore. He had also negotiated with the leaders of this force, but his threats and promises were not effective on these new forces. Not only did they not give him any face, but they even threatened to take down the entire Hidden Dragon District sooner or later. The subsequent few small and large-scale conflicts really gave the Hidden Dragon a headache. He even felt that these new forces seemed to be able to reproduce quickly. They seemed to be small, but he couldn't kill them, let alone chase them away. The appearance of Yuanshu gave him the courage to uproot this self-proclaimed army of Xianshu. regardless of the consequences. The Hidden Dragon Ghost General looked at the European server's army from afar and said calmly, "I can give you one last chance. Withdraw from a Hidden Dragon army and preserve the foundation of your force." As soon as he finished speaking, the bead at the top of the locust wooden staff in his hand flashed, and his voice suddenly rang out in the surroundings, clearly heard by the players. "I'll also give you a chance. Withdraw your army and give us some time to develop." Li Xing, who was the leader of the force, said with a smile, "That's right. You're attacking us before we're fully developed. You're not following the script. As the first boss of the novice village, don't you know the principle of letting the players develop steadily and not pushing them too hard?" Jason, who was at the side, raised a steel spear and pointed it at the Hidden Dragon Ghost General provocatively. Although the Hidden Dragon Ghost General couldn't understand what the players were saying, he could tell from their words and actions that they were obviously looking down on him and provoking him. "Woo!" The Hidden Dragon Ghost General roared and waved his staff forward. A black storm shot forward. The violent wind blew, causing the players standing in front to lose their footing and fall to the ground one by one. At this moment, the warriors of the Hidden Dragon Army began to advance along the black wind. The war was about to begin. "Let's fight. The army of Xian Su will win." Since they were going to fight, Li Xing was not afraid. He immediately roared in the regional channel. The wild boar riders at the front began to advance and launched a collective charge. However, due to the interference of the black wind, the players were completely against the wind, while the Hidden Dragon Army had the wind at their back. The power of the first wave of the players' charge was greatly reduced. When the two armies officially collided, the scene could only be described as a scene of humans falling and pigs turning upside down. The wild boar riders at the front were directly dispersed, and the scene was chaotic. Although the European server was developing rapidly at this stage, the European server players were different from the Beiki players who had experienced hundreds of battles. This was the first time they were facing such a real battlefield. Both mentally and physically, they were not used to it. The scene quickly became a mess. The battle was disorganized, and there were wild boars running around everywhere, as well as players who rushed to kill their enemies as soon as they caught them. However, even though there was a huge gap in strength, the European server players did not lose in terms of momentum. Each of them looked valiant and unafraid of death, causing the Hidden Dragon Army, who had not participated in any battles for years, to suffer a lot. However, the disadvantage of the European server players was still extremely obvious in the battle, as the European server players did not know how to fight in groups. Li Xing had no choice but to roar in the regional channel, asking the guild masters to lead their guild members to fight in small groups. This move was indeed effective. The small group battle was finally not as scattered as before, and there was a gap for them to work together to counterattack. However, the situation of the battle was not optimistic. The front row fell one after another. No matter how fierce their charge was, they still could not stop the Hidden Dragon Army's advance. Such a disadvantageous battle situation made Sangshu, who was observing in the dark, pale. He sighed in his heart. Why didn't I pinch the Hidden Dragon Army to death back then? As time went by, the situation of the battle became more and more disadvantageous for the European server players. Although they had millions of players at this stage, they did not have enough war experience. In terms of individual strength, they could not be compared to the Hidden Dragon Army's warriors. Moreover, the 3-hour resurrection time was too long, and they could not utilize the resurrection advantage in a short period of time. Compared to the Hidden Dragon Army that was advancing neatly, the front and back of the European server camp were in a mess. Just as Li Xing and the others were fighting with all their might, thinking that they should kill more enemies, even if they were to lose in preparation for a future counterattack, a blue vortex appeared in the sky. Then, a huge light pillar suddenly fell on the side where the two armies were fighting. Under the shocked gazes of the European server players and the Hidden Dragon Ghost General, countless figures appeared in the blue teleportation light pillar. At the same time, there were noises coming from inside. Aha! The European server is here. I want to kill 100 of them today. Don't fight with me. Wow. Reputation, it's all reputation. Brothers of the European server, don't move. Leave this difficult battle task to us. You guys should retreat for now. The battle is small, but injuries are not a small matter. Brothers of the Baki army, it's been a pleasure on your first expedition. Let us teach this ghost general a lesson and let him know what the fourth natural disaster is. Oh, well, after this battle, I hope to get the rank of sergeant. I'm looking forward to it. Don't push me. Let me stand in the front, you bastards. Bastard sorcerers of the guardian angels. You are sorcerers. Why are you standing in the front? Don't you have any self-awareness? Do you still look like a sorcerer? Mother of Asterisk Cur, why are you still pushing? Get out of my way. Why don't you say that you are an assassin player? Why are you standing in the front? Get out of my way first. You guys are too much. You assassins and sorcerers are pushing to the front. What a scandal. Do you still have any respect for us warriors? Everyone be quiet. This is our first expedition. We have to show the demeanor that the Baki army should have. So, don't push, let me pass first. Get lost. As the blue light pillar dissipated, the players of the Baki army that were everywhere appeared on the side of the two warring forces. At this time, a game notification appeared in the minds of the European server players' frowny face in this battle. The Baki Expeditionary Army has crossed the server and will fight together with you as support. The European server players were shocked when they heard this notification. They knew that the time to fight back had come. Brothers of Baki, thank you so much for coming. Now we won't be in such a disadvantageous position. Thank you, thank you. Now we can fight. At least the strength is more balanced. In addition to our resurrection, we will definitely have an advantage in the later stages of the battle. We are saved. We're going to win. Hearing the words of the European server players, the players of the Baki Expeditionary Army were speechless. After all, they were the Baki army that occupied half of Baki's territory. With them around, the European server players actually thought that the strength was only balanced. The Baki players couldn't stand such words that completely underestimated their strength. In the past, they were able to fight with the ghost General Chan Na for an entire night in the early stages of the war. In the end, they beheaded him at the Lioli coast. His head was even hung high above the city gate as a trophy. Now, although the strength of the entire Baki army could not defeat the Ghost King level, they at least had the combat power to contend with it. Although everyone knew that this was caused by the European server players not understanding their strength, these words still made the Baki players very unhappy. They felt that they were looking down on them. Therefore, the original players were ready to show off their skills. Chapter 2:12. The sudden appearance of the blue light pillar also shocked the hidden dragon ghost general. The appearance of the millions of Baki Expeditionary Army that followed made him even more dumbfounded. He knew that Een Talisman had the ability to teleport millions of troops across space, but he had never heard of any other force that could do it. Moreover, it must be His Excellency Sangshu's Een Talisman. After all, this was the land of Sangshu. However, His Excellency Sangshu was already dead, so the sudden appearance of the Baki army completely stunned the hidden dragon ghost general. Brothers from the European server, retreat and leave the front to us. Lu Chai shouted in the regional channel. Together, Li Xing answered immediately. Lu Chai shook his head helplessly when he heard that. They were fighting for the front purely for their own benefit. After all, in their eyes, the hidden dragon army in front of them was a tempting amount of reputation points. It was not to prove their bravery and fearlessness. Brothers, let's fight them head-on for our reputation. Lu Chai took the lead and shouted the order to start the battle in their live chat channel. Roar. For reputation. The Baki players roared in unison and attacked the hidden dragon army from the left. I'll charge too. Li Xing gave the order to attack. The two armies met in front of them. Hey, what the F asterisk CK? Are you guys crazy? Why are you squeezing us? What the F asterisk CK? What's going on? Why did it move to the right? The two armies met. The Rune warriors in the front row of the original server's camp pushed the European server players to the right with their strong physique. All the Baki players had only one thought in their minds. Don't stop us from farming reputation points. Don't stop us from showing off. After pushing the European server players away from the front line, Lu Chai began to command the battle. Mages, water cannons. Following Lu Chai's words, the blue water element at the back of the Beiki army dissipated. Water turrets were constructed efficiently. Seeing that the force that suddenly appeared was actually the reinforcements of Hidden Dragon's new force, Hidden Dragon was shocked and angry. However, the battle had already begun. He immediately waved his staff again, and a black wind swept forward in an attempt to create an opposing wind field. The Hidden Dragon army also began to charge forward. Warriors, stand at the front and listen to my orders. Looking at the Hidden Dragon army that was gradually approaching and about to collide with the players, Lu Chai's face revealed a mocking smile. Rune Master, Sapphire, Jiangba, protect yourself with your chi and blood. Roar. The warriors in the front row roared in unison. The sapphire light flickered, and a strong power of vitality emerged, colliding with the Hidden Dragon army that was charging towards them. However, this time, there was no crushing defeat. Relying on the powerful physiques of the frontline soldiers, this wave of assault was forcefully withstood. Rune Warrior Ruby, Jiangba Blood Chi Kill. Push them back. Following Lu Chai's words, the front row of the Beiki army flashed with a red light. Streaks of scarlet claw marks swept toward the Hidden Dragon army, cutting down a large portion of their front row. Water cannons, blast them to death. The mages who had already charged up their energy and were waiting for their orders immediately began to release water elemental cannons. A dense rain of bullets rained down on the soldiers of the Hidden Dragon army, knocking them down one after another. The European server players who witnessed this scene were dumbfounded. They originally thought that after the two armies converged, they would definitely be able to unleash a powerful combat power. With the ability to resurrect, they still had a high chance of winning this battle. However, they did not expect the Beiki army to be so terrifying. With just their own strength, they had completely suppressed the Hidden Dragon army in the first wave of confrontation. The teamwork that they had displayed was even more astounding. Assassins and execution squads take advantage of their internal chaos to harvest the remaining blood. At this moment, two figures leaped out from the Beiki army. They combined into one in the air, then shot down like a sharp sword. After falling into the enemy army, a huge shadow lotus slowly bloomed on the ground. The Hidden Dragon warriors who were shrouded in the attack range collapsed with a loud bang. Murphy, do your best. Grab more reputation points. Yes, do your best. Then, the two figures blended into the shadows and began to wander among the Hidden Dragon army, turning into grim reapers who harvested lives. At this moment, another two figures rushed out from the player army and galloped forward. The 9 conspicuous spiritual swords behind him spread out following Ao Jian's hand gesture, turning into a sword formation that fell down. Suddenly, the sword energy rampaged, and a large number of Hidden Dragon warriors were killed by the sword energy. Under Qi Ming's Ghost Dom field, the undead howled, looking for flesh and blood to devour. It was truly a dance of ghosts and gods. These powerful representatives of the top players of Beiki completely shocked the players of the European server. They could not imagine that the players could actually master such a method of killing strong enemies with a wave of their hands. While they were surprised, they were also envious. At least they knew that this was also the power that they could obtain in the future. Are these the Beiki cheaters that you were talking about? Li Xing looked at Reinhardt in shock. Yes, each of them is a top-notch combat force. Their strength is terrifyingly strong. Reinhardt could not help but smile bitterly. Jason said, "It's indeed a little scary." At this moment, the assassin players at the back had also quickly rushed out of the defense line formed by the warriors. After activating shadow steps, their figures were like phantoms, constantly waiting for an opportunity to move in the chaos. With the support of the powerful Naraka Realm's Shikigami, they could always harvest lives with every attack. "Oh, whoa, boss, let me out. I want to fight too. I want to fight for reputation points. I don't want to heal people." At this moment, the dog was struggling in Guyu's hand. Seeing that the other players were harvesting reputation points while he had to heal people, he felt very miserable. What happened to the hope of the civilian players? There is no way he could continue living like this. Heal people well. When their army is scattered, you'll be free to do whatever you want. Now that we're in a group battle, you have to hold on. Guyu slapped the dog's head in exasperation, trying to calm him down. The dog immediately raised his head with tears in his eyes. Boss, are you serious? Yes, heal people first, Guyu said helplessly. The power displayed by the Beiki army not only shocked the European server players, but it also shocked the Hidden Dragon Ghost General. When he saw his forces crumbling under the players' rampage, he realized that things were not looking good. Then, he glanced at Lu Chai, who was standing behind the players and commanding the battle. A hint of ruthlessness appeared in his eyes. He immediately waved his locust-wood staff, and a black stream of light drew an arc in the air and shot toward Lu Chai. When Lu Chai noticed the attack, it was already too late to dodge. Startled, he hurriedly raised his right arm in front of him. Boom! The huge impact pushed the players around him away, and Lu Chai's body slid on the ground for more than 10 meters. That's strong. Lu Chai slowly straightened his body, raised his right arm, and gave the Hidden Dragon Ghost General the middle finger. Although the attack was powerful, his right arm was Mu Zhiguang's right arm. With the Hidden Dragon Ghost General's strength, it was impossible for him to break his defense. Seeing this, the Hidden Dragon Ghost General widened his eyes. He immediately waved his locust-wood staff again, and several black streams of light followed closely. Bang! 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 After blocking continuously, Lu Chai was once again pushed back a distance. However, not even a mark was left on his right arm. It's AF * King Kirin arm. I like it. Seeing the strong defense of his right arm, Lu Chai felt a sense of comfort in his heart. Then, he once again gave the Hidden Dragon Ghost General a provocative thumbs up. This made the Hidden Dragon Ghost General's face turn pale, and he could not help but tighten his grip on his staff. Oh my god, he can actually resist the Hidden Dragon Ghost General's attack. Jason, who saw this scene, had a look of disbelief. I don't believe that there are no cheats in this game. At most, there are no cheats in our European server. I suspect that the original server is overflowing with cheats. I want to buy one too. I also strongly suspect that it's a cheat. How can it be so strong? The European server players were in a heated discussion. However, they had to admit that even they did not believe in the cheat theory that they were talking about. However, they cannot find any words to describe the cheat-like performance of the original server players. Let's kill them too. It'll be a waste if we don't take the soul coins and experience. Seeing that they had gained the upper hand, Li Xing immediately shouted in the regional channel again. Realizing that it was a good opportunity to earn soul coins, the European server players gathered again and launched an attack. Witnessing this scene, the players of the army of Beiki moved spontaneously and blocked in front of them again. What a joke! The cross-server players were here for the prestige. This wave of monsters was definitely going to be snatched, and they would not give way. The unwilling European server players took another detour. Then, the army of Beiki adjusted their formation again and blocked them outside. This made the European server players gnash their teeth in hatred. It's fine if you want to snatch the monsters, but what do you mean by saying that it's for your own good and that you're afraid that you'll get hurt? It's so infuriating. The European server players who had no choice could only hide at the back and watch the Beiki players kill them passionately. At least they could see one thing. It seemed that the rewards for killing monsters in this cross-server activity must be very high. Otherwise, they would not be so desperate. That's good too. After getting rid of the Hidden Dragon Ghost General, we can expand our training range. At least we can speed up the growth of the European server players again. Li Xing smiled helplessly and could only say so. It's a long way to go to surpass the original server, but I believe that we can do it. Reinhardt said solemnly. That's right. After this battle, work hard to level up. If they can do it, why can't we? Jason encouraged at the side. However, the main character of this battle was definitely the cross-server army of Beiki. This was something that could not be changed. Under the strong suppression of the army of Beiki, the Hidden Dragon Ghost General's army was beaten back step by step. Some of the ghost soldiers even began to take the initiative to retreat not daring to obey the order to charge. The performance of the soldiers also made the hidden dragon Ghost King realize that his side had lost this battle. He was no match for them at all. He had originally thought of using the decapitation action to cause the enemy's morale to slacken. However, the battlefield commander was as hard as a tortoise's shell. He had cast spells to attack him from afar several times, but the man was unharmed. Moreover, he always made all kinds of strange gestures to provoke him after he resisted the damage. He also thought of rushing forward to fight with him personally. However, he specialized in spells, so his close combat ability was weak, especially when he saw the blooming Shadow Lotus, the realm of ghosts and monsters, the sword formation with sword chi, and a large number of Naraka realm phantoms. He felt a chill in his heart. He was really afraid that he would not be able to come back if he rushed forward. This made him realize that he could not continue fighting. Now that he had already surrendered to Yuanshu, he could retreat temporarily. When the time comes, Yuanshu could deploy troops to help him eliminate the foreign forces. Thinking of this, he wanted to retreat with his troops. However, the original server players would not let them go. One by one, they shouted, "Reputation, don't run," and chased after them. Chapter 2:13. Under the relentless pursuit of the players, the arrogant hidden dragon army, who originally had the upper hand, retreated step by step. They retreated until they reached the interior of the hidden dragon swamp. However, the Beiki players still had no intention of letting them go. After all, the benefits of killing monsters in the game had never been so high. Killing a monster not only gave them soul coins and experience, but also reputation points that could not be bought with soul coins. In the eyes of the players, the hidden dragon ghost general was a treasure trove of resources. The reputation reward for killing him alone was a terrifying 80,000 points. Under the temptation of such great benefits, the players of the Beiki army were envious. Don't run. If you continue to run, you'll be a coward. How dare you run away with your reputation points? Be obedient and turn them into resources. Don't let the hidden dragon ghost general escape. We have to make him stay no matter what. The players' roars scared the hidden dragon army warriors to death. All the warriors who were caught up were instantly surrounded by the hungry wolves and died in the blink of an eye. This scene terrified them. In their opinion, war was war, but now that they had retreated, they could not understand why the players were chasing after them as if they had killed their father. During the chase, the formation of the players became disorganized and no longer neat. They were only trying to catch up with the team in front of them more efficiently. However, compared to the players, the warriors of the Hidden Dragon Army were in an even worse state. They only wished that they had 2 more legs so that they could escape from the hungry wolves. Seeing this scene, the European server players cheered and began to follow behind the Beiki players as they sprinted forward. They had always been the ones being chased around by the Hidden Dragon Army, although they were not the ones who defeated the Hidden Dragon Army this time. The feeling of being chased made them very happy. It could be said that they had vented their anger. Seeing that the warriors behind him were constantly being killed, the Hidden Dragon Ghost General was infuriated. He immediately turned around and waved his staff. As the jewel at the top of the staff flashed, a gust of black wind attacked the back. In the state of going against the wind, the speed of the players suddenly slowed down a lot. Execution team, is there any way to interrupt his skill? Lu Chai immediately shouted in the live chat channel. Let me try. Ao Jian stood up at this time. The 9 spiritual swords behind him merged into one in the air and shot forward. However, when the distance was more than 100 meters, the spiritual swords' control weakened and began to tremble. When they got close to the Hidden Dragon Ghost General, they were hit back by a black stream of light. No, the distance is too far. Ao Jian immediately said, let's give a try. Murphy and Lil Pomelo stepped forward. After that, their figures merged into shadows and quickly swept past the Hidden Dragon Army warriors. They were not affected by the wind resistance as they quickly approached the Hidden Dragon Ghost General. However, the Hidden Dragon Ghost General seemed to have discovered them. When the 2 of them emerged from the shadows, they saw several streaks of black light sweeping towards them. Fortunately, the 2 of them were very agile. They quickly changed positions and dodged the attack. However, the hidden dragon ghost general had once again distanced himself from them. After a few attempts, the duo retreated. This won't do. The hidden dragon ghost general's skills have no cooldown. I can't get close at all. Seeing that they could not get close to the hidden dragon ghost general, Lu Chai turned his attention to Qi Ming, Gu Yu, and the others. However, everyone still shook their heads. The hearts of the Beiki players were bleeding as they watched the hidden dragon army running further and further away. Why did the reputation points disappear just like that? I have an idea. At this time, a voice rang out in the live chat channel, and at the same time, a figure appeared in their main force camp. When Lu Chai and the others heard this, they immediately looked at Reinhardt, who had just arrived. Tell us quickly, what's the idea? If we don't speed up, they'll be gone. I have a charge skill, super armor. It won't stop until I hit the target. However, my mount has died in the battle just now and is on cooldown. I need a good mount. Reinhardt said solemnly as he looked at the crowd. Mount? Where are we going to find a mount? Our mounts are all undigitized zombie wolves. It's impossible. Lu Chai suddenly looked at the dog as he spoke. Gu Yu and the others were stunned when they saw this. Then, they seemed to have understood something and looked at the dog as well. Cough, cough. Brother dog, do you want to discuss something? Lu Chai asked awkwardly. I won't agree even if I die. Don't think that I don't know what you want me to do. The dog said with a horrified expression. His body began to shrink backward. Dog, you have to bear with it. Your movement speed is so fast. With the addition of this brother's charge skill, you can catch up with the hidden dragon ghost general in an instant. Let's interrupt his skill first. Gu Yu also tried to persuade him. I won't. I'd rather die. The dog clenched his teeth, and his face was full of grief and indignation. It's sad enough to be a dog. There's no way I'll be a mount. Brother dog, look at the big picture. I think this is a good idea to sacrifice yourself for the benefit of the masses. Qi Ming also tried to persuade him. I won't. Screw the benefits of the masses. I swear I won't be a mount. Dog, how about this? You've sacrificed so much. If we take down the hidden dragon ghost general, you can have a right to kill him. How about that? Lu Chai, the commander-in-chief, tempted him. I won't. Wait, you're serious. The right to kill the hidden dragon ghost general represented a reward of 80,000 reputation points. The value was there for all to see. The dog's originally firm heart was instantly shaken. Everyone agrees with what I said. Lu Chai affirmed once again. Upon hearing this, the dog glanced at the crowd and found that everyone was nodding. This caused the dog's original determination to not be a mount to collapse. In the end, he still bowed down in the face of huge benefits. I'll do it. The dog clenched his teeth. Everyone could not help but laugh when they heard this. Among them, the happiest one was undoubtedly Reinhardt. As a veteran player, he had always heard of the dog's powerful support. In the past, the dog was an existence that low-level players like him could not even come into contact with. He did not expect that he would be able to ride him in this life. Come on up. At this time, the dog clenched his teeth and looked at Reinhardt. Okay. With an excited mood, Reinhardt sat on the dog's back. Reinhardt was tall, but the dog's body was not much bigger than the orange cat. After sitting on him, the dog's body was covered by Reinhardt's armor. Seeing this scene, Lu Chai and the others blushed, but they were laughing in their hearts. Let's go. Brother dog, start running first. I'm going to activate my skill. Upon hearing this, the dog's heart was filled with shame. However, when he thought of the right to kill the hidden dragon ghost general, he clenched his teeth and began to run forward. Dark charge. At this time, Reinhardt activated the charge skill. A force quickly shrouded the dog and increased his speed. With the help of the skill, the dog turned into a phantom and galloped forward. His speed became faster and faster. All the hidden dragon warriors along the way were knocked away by the charge skill. There was no way to stop him. Reinhardt, who was sitting on the dog's back, was completely stunned. This speed, words such as fast as a meteor, and lightning flashed in Reinhardt's mind. After concluding, he could only say one word: amazing. Lu Chai and the others who saw this scene finally could not hold it in anymore. They all rolled on the ground laughing. Reinhardt, who was riding on the dog, seemed to be sliding on the ground in a sitting position. The dog's figure could not be seen at all. This scene really made them unable to hold back their laughter. During the charge, a thought appeared in Reinhardt's mind. He really wanted to subdue the dog as a mount. The speed and strength of the charge were too fierce. It was really a choice that a knight dreamed of. Chapter 214. With the blessing of the dog's powerful attributes, Reinhardt galloped through the hidden dragon army like an unstoppable god of war. All the warriors who tried to stop him along the way were sent flying after judging the superimposed strength attributes of the two of them. Reinhardt could not help but cheer at the exhilarating feeling. Hearing Reinhardt's cheers, the dog, who was running with all his might, gritted his teeth. If it wasn't for the 80,000 reputation points reward, he would have turned around and bitten Reinhardt to death on the spot. Wow! Wow! Reinhardt was still yelling excitedly. The Bakey players who were watching from behind were laughing so hard that they almost couldn't breathe. This is war. You guys, be serious. Stop laughing, haha. Lu Chai immediately scolded when he saw that the players were all swaying uncontrollably. After saying that, he could not help but burst out laughing again. Some of the meddlesome players had even taken videos and were preparing to make them into GIF emoticons. Meanwhile, the dog, who was unaware of the situation, was still sprinting toward the Hidden Dragon Ghost General. At this moment, the Hidden Dragon Ghost General had already noticed the dog and Reinhardt, who were charging toward him. He immediately commanded the warriors to stop them. At the same time, the staff in his hand circulated with energy, and 3 black streams of light were shot out. Skills are coming. Brother dog, hold on. Got it. After saying that, the dog no longer charged forward directly. Instead, he nimbly dodged left and right with Reinhardt. This scene made the players at the back burst into laughter again because all they could see was Reinhardt, who was sitting on the ground, bouncing left and right as he moved forward. Relying on the dog's agility, they easily dodged 2 spells. As for the last spell, it was Reinhardt who was forcefully withstanding it. Relying on the strong spell resistance of the Dark Knight and the dog's HP sharing in the form of a mount, this attack did not cause much damage to Reinhardt. Speed up. Tyrant body impact. Following Reinhardt's roar, a purple and red stream of light shrouded the two of them and increased their speed again. This time, Reinhardt directly targeted the Hidden Dragon Ghost General as his target. In this state, the dog no longer dodged and directly launched the fiercest charge toward the Hidden Dragon Ghost General. With their cooperation, they pushed forward all the way and got closer and closer to the Hidden Dragon Ghost General. This made the Hidden Dragon Ghost General anxious. He hurriedly waved a few more offensive spells and then turned around to escape. However, the distance between the two sides was already very close. Accompanied by Reinhardt's excited roar, Sun Chi slammed into the Hidden Dragon Ghost General's body with him. Although this attack did not cause much damage to the Hidden Dragon Ghost General, it disrupted the spell waves that she had condensed at the top of her magic staff. The black wind immediately dispersed. Brothers kill. The reputation points are here. Seeing this scene, the players were excited. They roared and started running forward. Without black wind's obstruction this time, the players' speed increased and gradually began to close the distance between them and the Hidden Dragon army. Brother Go retreat. When he releases black wind, we'll charge again. Again. Go Z couldn't help but grit his teeth when he heard that. What if the Hidden Dragon Ghost General skill is on cooldown? Don't be angry. Didn't they promise you something good? Reinhardt, who was reluctant to get down, could only try to persuade them. Got it. The grief-stricken Sun Chi had no choice but to charge back with Reinhardt. Along the way, Reinhardt raised his steel spear and killed. He was very happy. Initially, Sun Chi was very angry because Reinhardt was sitting on him and cheering from time to time. However, after realizing that Reinhardt could gain reputation points by killing the Hidden Dragon warriors, he immediately stopped complaining and began to charge left and right with Reinhardt, specifically looking for places with a lot of people. The existence of the two of them was like a *T stick on the battlefield, stirring up chaos within the Hidden Dragon army that was already on the verge of collapse. As they retreated, they collided with each other and were in a mess. Because of this, the speed of their retreat slowed down. Kill. Charge left. This time to the right, to the right. Shut up. I'm on a mount. Sun Chi couldn't help but roar. Although he really wanted reputation points, the way Reinhardt treated him like a mount made him gnash his teeth in hatred. Okay, brother dog, no problem, Reinhardt promised excitedly from above. At that moment, a human wall formed by the hidden dragon warriors appeared in front of them, seemingly trying to stop them from advancing. Hush, Reinhardt shouted subconsciously. Hush your ass, I'm not a mount. The grief-stricken Sun Chi immediately accelerated and crashed into the human wall to prove to Reinhardt that he was not a person that he could command. Under the joint attack of the two of them, the players at the back quickly caught up and began to nibble at the front bit by bit from behind. Seeing that the situation was not good, the hidden dragon ghost general's face turned pale. He waved his staff again, trying to create a black wind. Brother dog, go. The target is the hidden dragon ghost general. He's going to release his skill. Reinhardt pointed his steel spear at the hidden dragon ghost general and shouted excitedly. Sun Chi didn't reply this time. He secretly swore that after this battle was over, he would definitely bite the bastard on his back to death 100 times. Otherwise, it would be difficult to vent the hatred in his heart. However, when he thought of the 80,000 reputation points reward, he gritted his teeth and changed his direction, running towards the hidden dragon ghost general again. Under the joint attack of the two, the black wind was interrupted once again. Without the interference of spells, the players at the back were filled with excitement. Many players from the European server also joined in, rushing forward in a frenzy. In a situation where they had completely lost their fighting spirit, many warriors of the hidden dragon army did not even have the thought of resisting. Even if they were caught up, they would struggle with all their might, thinking of continuing to escape. This made it very easy for the players to kill, and the battle turned from a resistance to a one-sided massacre. Under the continuous pursuit of the players, even the hidden dragon ghost general could not find a way to deal with it. As a ghost general who specialized in spells, he was weak in melee combat. Although he had all sorts of buffs and crowd control abilities, the warriors had already lost their will to fight. No matter how powerful his buffs were, it would be of no use. Moreover, his field control ability was completely restrained by Sun Chi and Sun Chi. All kinds of collisions would always arrive at the critical moment. What made him even more desperate was that one of the two had a strong defense, while the other had a strong recovery ability. When they worked together, they were an existence that could not be killed at all. Facing such a combination, the hidden dragon ghost general was really helpless. Roar! At this time, the Sun Chi and Sun Chi Knight duo once again rushed from the side, accompanied by Reinhardt's cheers. Seeing this, the hidden dragon ghost general gritted his teeth, waved his staff, and hit the two of them. I'm going to kill you. Chapter 2:15. Although he specialized in spells, the hidden dragon ghost general was quite capable in close combat. He waved his staff vigorously, and for a moment, the two of them couldn't do anything about it. If it wasn't for the dog's healing ability, the two of them would have been defeated long ago. In the end, they could only choose to retreat temporarily. After forcing the duo to retreat, the hidden dragon ghost general, who was holding his staff, suddenly began to question why he chose to specialize in spells in the first place. It was obvious that close combat was the way to go. However, it was too late for regrets now. Although he suppressed the duo in close combat, he couldn't kill them. However, as long as he had the intention to release his spells, the duo would still charge at him fiercely. The hidden dragon army had long been defeated. They no longer retreated in unison, but scattered in all directions. It could be said that they had lost this battle. At this moment, the hidden dragon ghost general's face was full of resentment. He knew that not only did he lose this battle, but his future dominance over the hidden dragon zone would also be weakened by half because of this. At the same time, it would also affect his position in the heart of the future His Excellency. Resentment aside, escaping was the most important thing. He immediately turned around and decided to abandon the army and leave alone. However, the players wouldn't let him leave so easily. The assassination team that had already approached him appeared one by one and surrounded him. Ao Jian, Qi Ming, Gu Yu, and the others were all existences who had passed the Ghost Commander trial. Although they were no match for the Hidden Dragon Ghost General, they had a huge advantage. They had more people. Which force are you from? Why are you invading Sangshu? Looking at the players surrounding him, the Hidden Dragon Ghost General spoke with a gloomy face. Beiki Army. Gu Yu. Beiki Army. Lu Chai. Beiki Army. Qi Ming. It was their first time going to war, so they naturally had to leave their names. They revealed their origins without hesitation. Beiki. After knowing the origin of this force that suddenly appeared, the Hidden Dragon Ghost was stunned. In his opinion, Beiki had long been in turmoil and couldn't even protect itself. Why would they suddenly invade Sangshu? Could it be that Beiki was unified? And the new His Excellency wanted to expand his territory? The Beiki army wants to start a war with the land of Sangshu. No, that's the Xian Su army's business. We just want to beat you up. Lu Chai waved his hand as soon as he finished speaking. Everyone approached and launched an attack on the Hidden Dragon Ghost General. The Hidden Dragon Ghost General immediately waved his magic staff, and several streams of light shot out, each locking onto a target. Brother Go, charge! At this moment, the Doggy Knight duo suddenly appeared and slammed into him, forcing him to take a few steps back. Retreat! Shut up, bastard! Okay, Brother Go. After the attack, the two of them quickly retreated. Lu Chai and the others, who had blocked the energy attack, charged forward again and launched an attack on the Hidden Dragon Ghost General. The Hidden Dragon Ghost had no choice but to wave its magic staff again and switch to close combat. While blocking the attacks, it looked for opportunities to release spells. However, the duo of Gozi always appeared and disappeared mysteriously, attacking from all directions. It made him so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. Looking at the increasing number of wounds on his body, the Hidden Dragon Ghost General finally gave up on attacking with his spells. He channeled all the Yin energy in his body into the magic staff and started fighting the players in close combat. Even if he specialized in spells, the Hidden Dragon Ghost General had lived for so many years, and his close combat skills were not weak at all. The magic staff in his hand was like an extension of his arm. Hit, lift, hack, cover, press, cloud, sweep, pierce, hold, pick, lift, push. The Hidden Dragon Ghost General displayed the essence of the staff technique incisively and vividly, causing Lu Chai and the others to be unable to break his defense for a while. Damn it, have you studied in Shaolin Temple? Can't you fight with us like a wizard? Lu Chai, who was sent flying again, could not help but ask. The Hidden Dragon Ghost General had a bitter look on his face when he heard this. At this moment, he was filled with hatred. Why the hell do I have to learn spells? Isn't close combat good? If I learn close combat, will they still be my opponent? How hateful. However, the battle had to go on. He did not dare to be distracted. The magic staff in his hand continued to wave, blocking the attacks coming from all directions. Someone surround him. Throw your spells and long-range attacks at him. Let him continue to wave. He won't die of exhaustion. Lu Chai simply stopped attacking and began to command the army of players to surround him. Let's retreat too. Those who have long-range skills, throw them at us. Gu Yu and the others also retreated after hearing this, leaving an empty space for the Hidden Dragon Ghost General. Shadow Dart, Wave Punch, Devouring Ghost Entanglement, Blood Chi Ignition. At this moment, the roles of the two sides were reversed. The close combat players began to throw their long-range spells, while the Hidden Dragon Ghost King continued to wave his magic staff to block. As time passed, my hands are sore. My hands are really sore. Looking at the dense attacks coming from all directions, the Hidden Dragon Ghost General was on the verge of tears. He felt that his hands are going numb after waving his staff nonstop. However, he could not stop. If he did, he would be beaten. Sigh, don't stop, keep waving. Lu Chai stood in the crowd of players and took out a bag of spiritual melon seeds from his channel. He looked at the Hidden Dragon Ghost General while munching on them. Beiki really wants to be the enemy of the land of Sangshu. The Hidden Dragon Ghost General could only threaten Lu Chai with the excuse of the land of Sangshu. I told you that Sangshu is not under our control. We are here to beat you up." As he spoke, Lu Chai turned his head and shouted behind him, "Is the live broadcast on?" "Boss, it's on." The guild members behind him shouted. "Not bad. Not bad." Lu Chai nodded in satisfaction. At this time, in the official forum, the number of players watching a live broadcast increased rapidly. Baiki Expeditionary Force, the Hidden Dragon Ghost General, is performing his magic staff online. Don't miss it. Many players who did not participate in this expedition were curious about the land of Sangshu. They could not help but click on a live broadcast. However, the content of the live broadcast shocked them. Watermelon_Turo, dumbfounded. Are all the ghost generals in the land of Sangshu so hospitable? Why are they performing? Crayon_Shinchan. Did you guys bully him? Why does he look so reluctant? How can you guys be like this? Don't you know how to win people over with virtue? Look at how scared the ghost general is. He's sweating on his forehead. Laughing emoji, assassin_Creed. Damn, the expeditionary force has this kind of treatment. There's actually a big boss powerhouse performing his magic staff. Confused emoji, poverty_spicy_chicken. Haha, this ghost general is so awesome. Why don't we catch him back to Baiki and let him perform every day? Laughing emoji, fat_happy_water. I'm so jealous. I didn't participate in the expedition. Happy_the_end. Interesting. Why don't we have such enthusiastic ghost generals and ghost kings in Baiki? Laughing emoji, Hasidu. Is it because of the region? The ghost general of the land at Sangshu has to perform a battle dance before a battle. Laughing emoji, watermelon_juice. Looking at this and reading your comments, I'm laughing so hard that my snot bubbles are coming out. There are more and more talents in the forum. Brothers, he's slowing down. Put some pressure on him and make him speed up. Following Lu Chai's roar, the player's skills fell in a more intensive manner. Seeing this, the Hidden Dragon Ghost General's face turned pale. He immediately increased the speed of his waving to deal with it. Hey, yes. Faster. I'm going to kill you. The Hidden Dragon Ghost General looked at Lu Chai and clenched his teeth. Perform for 3 hours first. If you still have the strength, I'll let you kill me, Lu Chai said with a smile. The Hidden Dragon was speechless. He was a ghost general powerhouse and the overlord of a region. Now, he was being watched like a circus monkey. The sorrow in his heart could not be described with words. Chapter 216. 2 hours later, Lu Chai raised the cup of water in his hand toward the Hidden Dragon Ghost General. You're sweating profusely. Why don't you take a break and drink some water? The Hidden Dragon Ghost General's eyes were filled with grief and indignation. His lips trembled as if he wanted to say something. At this moment, his numb hands suddenly lost their strength and the staff flew out of his hand. Instantly, a dense barrage of skills bombarded his body, knocking him down to the ground. Seeing that the Hidden Dragon Ghost General could not hold on any longer, the player's output became even more violent. Perhaps even the Hidden Dragon Ghost General did not expect that he would face death in such a depressing situation. Lu Chai did not break his promise and gave the final killing right to Sun Chi. After all, Sun Chi was wronged in this battle. It was because of his hard work that the Hidden Dragon Army was defeated. The players did not complain. If it were not for Sun Chi, they might not even have the last chance to farm reputation points, let alone the Hidden Dragon Ghost General's reputation. Sun Chi's eyes were brimming with tears as he felt that he had finally made it. He shook his body and turned to look at Reinhardt, who was still riding on him. Are you still not going to get down? Reinhardt was resentful. After all, the battle was over, so he could only step down. However, he still missed the lightning speed just now. It was not something that could be described with the word thrilling. After the battle was completely over, a book slowly appeared in front of the players. For gilded words flashed with a stream of light, and the pages of the book slowly turned. On the 3rd of March, 2319, the Hidden Dragon Ghost General, who swore allegiance to Yuanshu, launched a war of annihilation against the army of Xiansu. At the critical moment of the battle, the expeditionary army of the Baiki Alliance arrived and turned the tide, winning the final victory together with the army of Xiansu. Below this line of text, There was a picture of the players besieging the hidden dragon ghost general. Server announcement. All players of the army of Cien Su who participated in this war have received the title Defender. Defender, purple title, dedicated to all players who participated in the war of defending the army of Cien Su. Your sacrifice has brought peace to your homeland. Title effect. You can enter the unopened Naraka Realm dungeon in advance. Server announcement. All players of Baki who participated in the expedition will receive a reward of 100 reputation points. Your sacrifice for your comrades will be recorded in history and remembered by them. The appearance of the game prompt made the players from both the local and European servers cheer together. This was especially true for the players from the European server. From being suppressed at the beginning to being chased and killed at the end, such a realistic battle experience brought about a great sense of satisfaction after obtaining the final victory. This was the first time they had participated in a battle, and their blood was boiling in such an atmosphere. It was also this battle that allowed the European server players to understand how terrifying the original server players, who had launched their server 3 months earlier than them, were. The European server players were even more fascinated by the strength they displayed. The huge gap did not bring about disappointment, but a desire that came from the bottom of his heart. Although they were allies in the underworld, they would also be enemies in the future cross-server wars. At this time, the European server players were already preparing for the future cross-server war. Since he wasn't strong enough, then he would become stronger. Now that the Hidden Dragon District was under their control, the training area had expanded. There were many hidden dragon warriors who had just escaped from the battle. It could be said that they had sufficient resources. They couldn't wait to level up and become stronger. At this moment, the game notification rang in the minds of the Baki players again. Game prompt. The expedition support battle has ended. The teleportation will be activated in 3 hours. Please be prepared. During this period, you can move freely. Seeing that there were still 3 hours left, many Baki players began to wander around, wanting to see the different scenery of the land of Sangshu and the land of Baki. There were also some players who exchanged spiritual materials with the European server players, preparing to bring back some specialties. Some players followed the European server players back to the Hidden Dragon Village, wanting to see if there was a chance to receive a special mission here. After all, everything was possible in this game. At this time, Reinhardt was walking back with a smile on his face. He couldn't help but feel proud when he thought of his heroic performance in the battle. At this moment, a black shadow shot out from the bushes beside him and pushed him to the ground. Reinhardt was shocked. Just as he was about to resist, he realized that it was the dog. "Brother dog, what are you? I'll bite you to death, you bastard. Did you have a good time riding me just now?" The dog bared his teeth and bit Reinhardt as he spoke. At this time, on the east side of the Hidden Dragon Swamp, accompanied by a flash of golden light, a satisfied smile appeared on Hui's face. "I leveled up again. I'm so happy." In the European server, because his level was far ahead, although there were several waves of players who came looking for him, they were all defeated by him. Therefore, in Hui's opinion, the European server was indeed a paradise. Even if he made a huge mistake, he could still get away with it, and no one could do anything to him. So I miss backstab so much. It's so relaxing to train without them, and no one could disturb me. Hui, who was sitting on top of a boulder, murmured proudly as he looked at Cha Na's zombie spirit, who had punched the swamp crocodile to the ground. Backstab. At this moment, a delicate shout came from behind, causing Hui to tremble in fear. This familiar voice reminded Hui of the black and white images that often appeared after this voice. The sound of a dagger piercing through flesh was heard. Hui turned around in disbelief. "Sister, this is the European server." Hui looked at little Pomelo and felt like crying. "I've taken someone's money, so I'm helping them eliminate disasters. This is the professionalism of an assassin. Moreover, it's just along the way." Little Pomelo stuck out her tongue and pushed the dagger forward again. Hui's mouth twitched when he heard that. "This is 2F King fake. This is the European server. Is there a need to stab me along the way? I seriously suspect that you're addicted to stabbing me." Another dagger appeared in front of his chest and pierced through his heart. Hui knew who it was without turning around. "Big brother, Please have mercy. I'm already in the European server. Don't you think this is too much? Are you really going to kill me? Hui slowly turned his head to look at Murphy. At the same time, he was trying hard to calm himself down. Otherwise, he was afraid that his tears would flow uncontrollably. I accept the bounty, and I don't care about right or wrong, Murphy said coolly. At this moment, Yin and Yang runes appeared and collided in front of Hui. His HP was instantly emptied by the explosion, and the image in front of him turned black and white again. Looking at Hui, who had fallen to the ground, little Pomelo skillfully slapped him 3 times in a row. She even activated her beauty app. After everything was settled, the two of them held hands and started walking back. This time, the European server players had specially invited them, and the price they offered was not low. After settling this deal, they felt that they were one step closer to a happy life in the future. They could not help but feel elated. The transparent cabin cover in front of him slowly opened, and Hui was lying inside with a pair of lifeless eyes. At this moment, he suddenly remembered the words that the players had said in the forum. The backstab of justice may be late, but it will never be absent. After being backstabbed once again, Hui's heart was filled with grief. Immediately, he turned around abruptly and punched the gaming cabin with both his hands. This lousy game. I'm quitting. I'm not playing anymore. I hate this game. There's no gaming experience at all. I'm not playing anymore. After venting his anger, Hui curled up in the gaming cabin and began to cry. Sob, sob, sob. I hate them. Sob, sob, sob. I hate. Chapter 217. The crisis in the land of Sangshu was temporarily resolved, and the Beiki Expeditionary Force returned in glory. The army of Xian Su had also entered a stage of development. Although the crisis in the Void Ocean had broken out, it had yet to affect Beiki, so Lu Wu was very calm recently. Seeing the increase in soul coins every day, he felt that his days were very leisurely. However, the days of staying at home every day made Lu Wu sad. He had forgotten how long it had been since he last went out. He even needed Bei Li's help when he went shopping. These days, he felt like a kitten in a cage, very sad. One day, Lu Wu was cultivating when he suddenly felt a sharp pain on his forehead. Thinking that there was something wrong with his cultivation, Lu Wu immediately stopped the energy circulation in his body and walked quickly to the mirror to see what was going on. Lu Wu was surprised to find a pink lotus pattern appearing on his forehead. Lu Wu, who was confused, immediately found Bei Li, who was stuffing chips in her mouth, and wanted to ask her for help. Bei Li's expression changed when she saw the pink lotus pattern on Lu Wu's forehead. She even forgot to eat her snacks. Lu Wu was confused by Bei Li's reaction, and he was also a little scared, feeling like he had cancer. Wu, the mark on your body has appeared. Bei Li swallowed the snacks in her mouth and looked at Lu Wu solemnly. Is it very serious? Lu Wu was shocked. Very serious, because this mark symbolizes the goddess of Beiki, Bei Li. I know, you said that I used to be Bei Li. Lu Wu looked gloomy. He felt that this was a barrier in his heart that he could not cross. It also has another meaning, which is the identity symbol of the leader of the heaven-defying alliance. No way. Lu Wu was shocked. Is there any heaven-defying thing waiting for me to do? Lu Wu opened his mouth wide. No, it's your choice whether you want to go against the heavens or not. However, since this mark has appeared on your body, the people in the world of immortals will never let you go. So you have 2 choices now. 1. Rely on the artifact's power to enter the 6 paths of reincarnation, reincarnate, and remove this mark temporarily. 2. Lu Wu said quickly. What a joke, he had not lived enough in this life. How could he be willing to reincarnate? Bei Li heaved a sigh. Wu, because you are a god on the Yin God list, this mark will follow you no matter how many times you reincarnate. Therefore, you're in great danger this time. Those people in the heaven realm might sense the mark and find you. Lu Wu suddenly thought of the demonic god. It seemed like the demonic god was also a reincarnated being who still had his god's mark. It's just that I didn't expect this imprint to appear so early. If there's enough time, you can definitely build an army that can contend against the heaven realm. At that time, they won't be able to do anything to you. But now, you're in danger. Lu Wu's expression turned solemn. What else can I do besides reincarnation? This is the second choice. Actually, you already have a way to deal with it. Those chess pieces will help you. Bailey could not help but sigh. You mean North Sea and the others? Lu Wu was shocked. Bailey nodded hard. Just as she was about to say something, her expression suddenly changed. Wu, let's go to the underworld. Upon hearing this, Lu Wu did not ask for the reason. He immediately waved his hand, and the power of the artifact enveloped the two of them, sending them into the underworld. After the two of them left, a divine consciousness suddenly descended and swept forward rapidly, continuously exploring. Before Lu Wu, who was hiding in the underworld, could ask what was going on, he saw Bailey waving her hand. A stream of light floated in the air and exploded in the air, turning into a blooming lotus. Let's go. To the cliffs of desperation. Bailey immediately used the artifact and began to lead Lu Wu toward the cliffs of desperation. At this moment, a crack was torn in the sky of Baiki. A large white seal appeared and emitted thousands of golden rays, shining like the sun on the earth. Lu Wu, who was in Bailey's arms, was illuminated by the golden rays. The lotus mark on his forehead suddenly began to heat up and glow. Baiki rebel deity, how dare you come back? A loud roar resounded through the heaven and earth. Then, the large white seal quickly pressed toward where Lu Wu was. The speed of Lu Wu and Bailey's escape could not be compared to the speed of the large seal's descent. However, just as the large seal was about to hit Lu Wu and Bailey, a white figure suddenly appeared in the sky above them. He placed his left hand behind his back and raised his right hand to the sky, lifting the descending large seal. Lu Wu turned around in shock and found out that it was North Sea. Master, long time no see. North Sea smiled and nodded at Lu Wu. Lu Wu was stunned and did not know how to answer. After thinking for a while, he said, That, long time no see. Who are you? Why are you protecting the sinful deity? The voice in the sky sounded again. Then, a golden figure slowly emerged from the clouds. I'm your grandfather. As North Sea finished speaking, he pressed his right hand upward. The large seal suddenly flew into the sky and was immediately kept by the golden figure in the sky. Are you one of the sinful deities? Then I shall grant you eternal hell. The figure above threw out 3 large seals this time, bringing down the pressure of heaven and earth. I think you're tired of living. How dare you grant me hell? Don't cry when you get beaten up later. North Sea said as he levitated into the sky and threw 3 consecutive punches. The punches seemed to be powerless and did not produce any energy waves. However, the bottom of the 3 golden seals in the sky suddenly caved in and 3 clear fist prints appeared. There were also obvious cracks around them. How did you get such strength without being recorded in the holy book? The deity above seemed to be surprised. I'll be recorded in a moment. Dark North laughed heartily and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already beside the golden figure. 100 seals. The golden figure seemed to be extremely shocked. He immediately roared angrily, and runes appeared around his body, surrounding him and protecting him within. Break! North Sea waved his fist. His right arm instantly turned black and violently collided with the surrounding golden seals. Crack! The black arm went straight through the defensive circle of the golden seals and suddenly grabbed the neck of the golden figure. At the same time, the shadow of the demonic god suddenly appeared behind North Sea. He, demonic god. The 100 Seals Lord's expression immediately changed. Boom! North Sea's right arm was burning with blood-red flames. He grabbed the 100 Seals Lord and fell to the ground like a meteor. The attack was like a comet hitting the earth, shaking the whole of Baiki. When North Sea's figure reappeared, his left hand was grabbing the 100 Seals Lord and his right hand was inserted into his chest. Then, with a sudden pull, a golden heart was pulled out. The 100 Seals Lord's body started to twitch uncontrollably. The golden light on his body suddenly dissipated. At this moment, North Sea had a ferocious look on his face. He then stuffed the golden heart into his mouth and swallowed it. Roar! His voice pierced through the clouds and cracked the rocks, echoing throughout the heaven and earth. His body was burning with golden flames, incessantly burning his body and causing dense cracks to appear on the surface of his body. He's really a lunatic. Bailey looked very shocked as she looked at the roaring North Sea. What's wrong? Lu Wu immediately asked. He wants to use the divine fire in the heart of a deity to ignite his own divine fire and become a deity in a heaven-defying way. Is it dangerous? As long as he succeeds in becoming a deity, he will be hunted down by all the deities in the heaven realm. He will also be like a firefly in the night. No matter where he is, the deities in the heaven realm will always be able to find him by following the trail of the divine fire. Becoming a deity in such a way will basically be doomed eternally. In the end, no one will survive. Bailey looked very serious. Chapter 218. North Sea slowly loosened his grip on the 100 Seals deity's hand. The supposedly immortal body slid to the ground, turning into fine sand and dissipating with the wind. Ah! A violent white airflow suddenly formed around North Sea, creating a storm around him. With the help of the divine fire, North Sea's body began to crack, undergoing the most painful transformation to become a god. North Sea's transformation alarmed many ancient forces in the underworld. They all subconsciously looked at Beiki. In the countless years of the underworld, there were only a handful of people who dared to become a god in this way. This was because this method of becoming a god completely put oneself on the opposite side of the strongest forces in the three realms. Without great perseverance, it was impossible to achieve. Moreover, becoming a god was just a threshold. The subsequent pursuit from the world of immortals was the most difficult ordeal to overcome on this path. At this moment, a rain of blood fell from the sky. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled, as if announcing to the world that a new god was about to be born. Crack! A huge crack appeared in the sky curtain, and figures emerged from it, looking down at Dark North, who was still in a state of transformation, with shock in their eyes. Traitors of the heaven-defying alliance. The leading sky tiger deity's expression became very solemn. In the underworld, the forces that gave them the most headaches were neither the three great emperors nor the hidden ancient gods, but the heaven-defying alliance. This was because they had never forgotten their ancient hatred. They were unwilling to live under the rule of the heavenly axiom, and even more unwilling to let the underworld fall. They wanted to use their own power to crush the heavenly realm and let the underworld rise again. However, this force had never been truly eradicated. Even though their former leader, Bailey, was forced to reincarnate, they still stubbornly hid in the underworld. Traitor, how dare you kill a god? The sky tiger deity's angry rebuke turned into an ancient character in the air, crashing toward North Sea. Bang! North Sea smashed the room with a punch. Not only will I kill a god, but I will also kill my way to the heavenly realm and kill all of you immortals. Ha ha ha. Under the burning of the divine fire, North Sea's body trembled as if he was suffering from great pain. However, a crazy smile appeared on his face. His body can't hold on any longer. If he fights under such circumstances, his body will definitely collapse. Bailey said with a worried expression, Traitor, die. The sky tiger deity glared. Thunder and lightning circled in the sky, and countless lightning bolts condensed into a purple thundercloud. Plasma surged within it, and tens of thousands of electric arcs flashed. Rumble Kacha! A sudden clap of thunder appeared, and a thick bolt of lightning suddenly fell. The sky was instantly illuminated by a purple splendor. At this moment, a fist mark soared into the sky and collided with the lightning. As the two energies pressed against each other, the friction produced an extremely high temperature. The air was ignited, and dense spatial cracks quickly formed. Kacha! The thunderclouds in the sky surged, and several bolts of lightning struck down. This time, the fist seal could no longer be blocked and was instantly shattered. The thick lightning bolts merged in the air and turned into an even larger lightning pillar, which smashed into Dark North's body. When the purple light dissipated, Dark North's figure appeared. Right now, his body was stooped, his arms hanging by his sides. Divine flames burned fiercely on his body, and he didn't seem to be in a good state. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Blood flowed down his arms. He slowly straightened his body and looked up at the sky. His expression was still filled with arrogance and defiance. Boom, boom, boom. The thunder rumbled, and it was as if doomsday had arrived. The entire world trembled in the surging thunderclouds. The sky tiger deity used this method to announce his arrival to the underworld, using force to deter them. In the face of another lightning strike, Dark North wanted to raise his hand to block it, but he staggered and almost fell to the ground. At this moment, his body was being reconstructed under the burning of the divine flames. Even activating the energy in his body had become extremely difficult. Just as the lightning was about to hit him, a black shadow appeared behind him. It roared at the sky, and its loud roar pierced through the lightning, instantly dispelling the attack. Young lad, my incarnation can only protect you this time. The rest is up to you. The demonic god's shadow gradually faded, and he looked at Dark North and said solemnly, Ahem, thank you, old friend. Stay alive. After the demonic god finished speaking, the shadow suddenly dissipated. Since I, Dark North, have decided to do this, it would be embarrassing if I can't even cross the first barrier. Dark North smiled as he shook his head. As he spoke, he clenched his right fist and swung it toward the sky. A huge fist print turned into a fiery red python in the air. It spiraled upwards, smashing the descending lightning into pieces, and crashed into the thunderclouds. The fiery python then turned into chains that wrapped around the entire thunderclouds. The thunderclouds suddenly stopped surging. The sky tiger deity's expression changed because he suddenly realized that his connection with the thunderclouds had been cut off. Bailey's Tao of Sealing. Are you the reincarnation of Bailey? The sky tiger deity was shocked and angry. Who was Bailey? She was the ancient god of the underworld who once threatened the heaven realm. She was also a thorn in their hearts that they always wanted to remove. When the sky tiger deity asked this question, Dark North slowly raised his head, and a pink lotus flower slowly bloomed on his forehead. At the same time, Lu Wu was shocked to find that the warmth on his forehead had dissipated. He reached out his hand to touch his forehead, and the lotus flower pattern on his forehead was gone. He borrowed your god seal to prove that he is the reincarnation of Bailey. You're safe now. Bailey looked at Dark North, who was looking up at the sky. You are indeed the reincarnation of the god of rebellion, Bailey. Ha ha ha. I will kill you today. The sky tiger deity said as he waved his hand, and a white light went into the crack in the sky. Why? Are you scared now? Ha ha ha. Dark North laughed out loud as he saw the white light of communication shooting into the sky. His expression was full of mockery. After confirming that Dark North was the reincarnation of Bailey, the sky tiger deity was no longer careless. He immediately waved his hand behind him, and the people behind him started to form a formation with him as the center. Thousands of purple lights scattered. The shadow of the thunder god, who looked like a strong man with a bare chest and stomach, 2 wings on his back, 3 eyes on his forehead, a wedge in his left hand, and a hammer in his right hand, appeared in the sky. As the thunder god's hammer fell, thousands of thunderbolts gathered in the sky again and crashed down. This time, before Dark North could make a move, 3 figures appeared by his side and attacked the sky with all their might. Extremely cold, icicles rose from the ground and extended upward. A golden war hammer, condensed by the earth element, spun rapidly in the sky. A giant fiery red sword pierced the sky, as if it wanted to shatter the sky. Boom! The space fell like broken glass, and black, distorted cracks appeared in the space. However, even if Frozen and the other 2 attacked with all their might, they were still no match for the gods. The 3 attacks were suppressed by the thunderbolts in the sky, and the giant lightning struck again. Let's go, leave this to me. Dark North's weak eyes widened, and he raised his fist and waved it in the sky again. A firebird soared in the sky, and every time it flapped its burning wings, it would bring up waves of heat. When the thunderbolt and the firebird collided, the purple and red energy formed two energy shock waves, pushing back and forth. "Let's go!" Dark North roared again. In fact, this battle was far beyond Dark North's imagination. He knew that even if Frozen and the others came to help, it would be useless. He could only rely on himself in this battle. "Dark North, you rotten old man. I won't leave just because you say so." Frozen's hands trembled. While resisting the thunderbolts, the extremely cold icicles brought him great pressure. At this moment, he felt that his body was about to be crushed by the pressure of the thunderbolts. "Damn it, brat. Once we're done here, I'll give you a good spanking." Looking at Frozen's determined face, Dark North cursed. "If you want to fight, you'll have to survive first. You'd asterisk him in, old man." At this moment, Great Fire also cursed. "Boss, hold on. In this battle, we swear to make sure that you become a god." Lai Shan's face was ferocious, and he clenched his teeth. With the four of them working together, the thunderbolts were held above their heads, unable to descend. However, they were still pressing down bit by bit. Boom! Boom! Once again, the Thunder God gathered his strength and hammered again. Another 10,000 thunderbolts fell and merged with the colliding energy wall. In an instant, the purple light intensified, and the thunderbolts fell even faster. Puff! 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 Frozen and the others could not take it anymore. The blood vessels in their bodies burst, and they became 3 bloody men. However, they still clenched their teeth and held on. This was because they knew that the chance to turn the tables in this battle depended on whether Dark North could successfully ignite the divine fire. They must not give up. Boom! Boom! However, the third wave of attack came at this moment. "Go, you be asterisk star brats." Looking at Frozen and the others who were risking their lives to protect him, Dark North could not bear it anymore and roared again. He had once embarked on this heaven-defying path because of his teacher's decision. In order to achieve his goal, he had forced Frozen and the others to live in seclusion for hundreds of thousands of years. He knew that he had let them down, and he felt guilty. However, this time, in the face of a life-and-death crisis that should have been shouldered by him alone, they stood by his side resolutely and fought the heavens together with him. They faced the hopeless situation where their souls would be destroyed and they would never be able to reincarnate. Dark North could not bear it. "Old man, when you become a god, I want to be the king of Bakey." Cough, coughed. Frozen's body trembled as he spoke. Immediately, the chi and blood in his body flowed backward, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. "Frozen, you little brat, I'll be the one to be the king of Bakey." "Ah!" Great Fire laughed sinisterly, but he could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood as well. Cough, cough. "After this battle, if the 3 of us are still alive, let's reenact the ancient battle. The old rules. The winner becomes the king." Hearing Lai Shan's words, the other 2 nodded their heads vigorously. Then they coughed up blood at the same time, but they burst out laughing. Looking at Frozen and the others, Dark North's heart was filled with torment. He could not help but roar at the sky. The giant firebird burned fiercely again, resisting the thunderbolts and pushing them up bit by bit. However, the cracks on his body increased. At this moment, Dark North looked like a porcelain doll that would shatter at the slightest touch. He was very fragile. Why do they have to protect me?" Looking at Dark North and the others who were struggling, Lu Wu roared at Bailey. He used to think that he would be mediocre in this life. However, after meeting Bailey, his life changed drastically. It became exciting, and he had hope for the future. However, this time, his heart was filled with indignation. He admitted that he was useless. However, no matter how useless he would not gamble his future with someone else's life. At least, he still had sincerity in his heart. He was still that hot-blooded young man. Bailey opened her mouth, but she did not know what to say. She could feel the struggle in Lu Wu's heart. She also knew that Lu Wu had never changed. He just wanted to live happily. As long as he had soul coins and money, he could live a comfortable life. Even though he had obtained the artifact, he never had the ambition to unify the world and the 3 realms. This time, he watched others carry his mission to fight against the heavens, to fight for a glimmer of hope for survival. However, he was like a bystander who could return to his peaceful life after everything was over. This kind of indifference caused his heart to suffer a great deal of torture. The struggle and pain in Lu Wu's heart made Bei Li's heart ache. Wu, do you want to help them? Bei Li looked at Lu Wu. Yes. Lu Wu clenched his teeth without hesitation. If I fail, there's no need for ifs. I'll take care of my own problems. Lu Wu looked determined. He knew that he was weak, but he was willing to pay the price. Bei Li nodded her head forcefully. With a thought, the soul coins stored in the artifact began to burn. Balls of pure soul power quickly flowed into Lu Wu's body. Lu Wu felt his forehead burning, and the pink lotus pattern appeared again. With the surging soul power, Lu Wu realized that his body had changed. The original larval form of Swanee faded away, and he turned into a human again. Wu, I'm going to temporarily awaken your divine seal. Relax your mind, and let the power sleeping in the divine seal guide you. Lu Wu nodded slightly and closed his eyes. His body floated in the air under the support of the soul power. At this moment, the divine seal on Lu Wu's forehead began to emit colorful brilliance. A translucent white chiffon slowly covered his body, and his body slowly changed under the brilliance of the divine seal. The curves of his body became soft and graceful. The bell tied with a red string on her slender legs jingled in the wind. At this moment, she opened her eyes. There was a gentle smile on her face that was as clear as the lakeside. She had a tranquil and elegant temperament. Her eyes were like stars, and she was spirited and graceful. Her clear eyes were like the deepest starry sky, as if they were filled with a starry night. Her elegant black eyes shone with dazzling starlight. Her bright eyes were kind and charming. Her gaze was like the moonlight that flowed like water. Every frown and every smile she made had a lively and delicate aura flowing around her. She reached out her hand and gently tapped the air, and her body slowly floated to Bei Li's side. Little one, long time no see. Bei Li looked at the woman in front of her with tears in her eyes. Then, she threw herself in her arms. Wow. I missed you so much, I really missed you. You still woke me up. How long can I last? The woman smiled, and her beauty overshadowed the sun and moon. The burning soul power in the artifact can only last for an hour at most. Bei Li raised her head from the woman's arms, and her eyes were filled with tears. Artifact? Little one, you've grown up. You're getting more and more powerful. Bei Li's tears turned into laughter, and she nodded her head vigorously. Sister taught me. How could I teach you? My proudest invention is the way of fate, but it doesn't seem to be useful at all. It can't be compared to yours. The woman in white smiled gently, and her eyes shone brightly. Sister, the divine seal has been burned. Now that you've woken up, will we never see each other again? Bei Li seemed to have thought of something, and her tears flowed again. Rubbing Bei Li's little head, the woman in white smiled. Don't be sad. Don't you have a Numi by your side? Don't you like him? Bei Li's face blushed when she heard this. Boom! At this moment, the loud noise from afar caught the attention of the woman in white. She looked up at the sky, and her face gradually turned cold. Chapter 219. The woman in white glanced past Dark North and the others and fixed her eyes on the sky tiger deity in the sky. The sun, moon, and stars were moving at this moment. The sky tiger deity, who noticed that something was wrong, thought that it was Dark North's ability, so he immediately summoned the thunder again. When the woman in white saw this, she shook her arms slightly, and the bell on her wrist began to ring. The crack in the sky closed up, and chains appeared from all directions, completely locking the sky. The thunder in the sky suddenly stopped in the air, and all the probing from the outside world was blocked. Dark North looked up at the sky and realized something when he saw the thousands of chains. He immediately turned around and found a beautiful woman in white standing behind him. Master! Dark North was shocked when he saw this person. You've grown up. The woman in white patted his shoulder and walked past him toward the sky step by step. At this moment, Dark North found that a chain appeared on his body. The divine fire on his body was suppressed by the power of the chain, and was just at the level that he could bear. Suddenly, the healing power in his body began to surge and began to slowly repair his cracked body. Ancestor. Frozen looked at the woman in white and could not help but call out. Little guy, you're the descendant of Bing Tian, right? I remember you. The woman in white turned around and chuckled. But are you still immature? Why do you still look like a baby after so many years? Puffed. Frozen, who was enduring the pressure of the thunder, twitched his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. I'm risking my life, ancestor. Can you not poke my sore spot like this? Frozen wailed in his heart. Seeing the woman in white with a blossoming lotus on her forehead, the sky tiger deity's expression changed drastically. Aren't you reincarnated? Why are you still alive? You deserve to die for bullying my descendant. The woman in white's eyes flashed coldly. She waved her hand toward the sky again, and countless chains of precepts twisted and shattered the shadow of the god of thunder in the sky. The collapse of the formation released a huge amount of energy. However, under the chains of precepts, all the energy was locked in place and could not escape. You can't kill me. The sky tiger deity was filled with fear and immediately roared. If it was the reincarnation of the Northly god of rebellion, he was confident that he could deal with it easily. After all, his cultivation had reached the level of true immortality. No matter how talented the reincarnation of the Northly god of rebellion was, it was impossible for him to surpass him. But this time it was different. This time, it was the real Bailey inverse god's real body, the existence that stirred up heaven capital. With his strength, there was no way he could compete with it. Chains of precepts appeared as Bailey waved her hand, locking all the immortals in the sky in place. They wanted to scream and struggle in fear. But under the restraint of the chains of law, the energy in their bodies could not circulate at all. It's over. The woman in white smiled and snapped her fingers playfully. Gotcha! The chains of law instantly twisted and killed all of them. Even the traces of their existence were erased. Looking at the woman in a fluttering white dress in the sky, Dark North and the others were shocked. This was a real god, but in her hands, they were like ants. This kind of majestic power fascinated them. After wiping away the deity in the sky, the woman in white slowly descended and came to Dark North's side. Master! Dark North respectfully lowered his head and called out. Smack! At this moment, a slap landed on Dark North's head, causing him to fall to the ground. Brat, are you a pig? I've already reincarnated, and you still want to go against the heavens? With your little abilities, you can't even defeat a true immortal, and you still want to go against the heavens. As if she was still angry, the woman in white raised her leg and stomped on Dark North twice. Idiot! How did I teach such a stupid pig? I'm so angry. The three people who saw Dark North getting beaten up suddenly trembled. Frozen, in particular, finally knew why the Ice Snow clan was so violent. It was indeed the inheritance of the Bakey deity clan. At the same time, he also knew why Dark North always beat people up. This was also taught by the elder ancestor. He was trembling. Get up! After stomping on Dark North, the woman in white moved her foot away and spoke again. Master, can you not be so violent? It's embarrassing for me. Dark North raised his head and said gloomily. He then glared at the three people who were snickering at the side. I don't have time to argue with you, Dark North. I can only help you for a while. You have to rely on yourself in the future. Make good use of this divine fire. As long as you become a god, your future will be limitless. As for the three of you, leave with Dark North. Although I've sealed off this place, their signal has already been sent to the heaven realm. The four of you are recorded in the message, so you can't stay here. Yes. The four of them replied respectfully. What's your plan for the future? The woman in white thought for a while and asked again. The future will be very exciting. I'll escape every day to prevent myself from being killed. Maybe I can even kill a few of them occasionally. Dark North grinned. This is what you're pursuing? The woman in white was stunned. After becoming the king of Bakey, I realized that I have no goals. This is good too. I can have fun every day. The woman in white was speechless. She then gave him a thumbs up. You're indeed my teacher. Amazing. Not at all. Master has taught me well. Dark North looked very proud. Smack. Am I complimenting you? Don't think that it's fun. You'll be crying in the future. The woman in white clenched her fists and gritted her teeth in exasperation. Dark North did not dare talk back. He could only chuckle. At this moment, the woman in white realized that the white light on her body had dimmed. She immediately froze. I don't have much time. Tell me where you're going. I'll send you off. Master, what about you? The white light didn't record my appearance. It only recorded the four of you, especially you. Now that the people in the heaven realm think that you're my reincarnation, they'll never let you go. Dark North nodded and said, Master, why don't you send me to the land of Naraka? There are many space barrier layers there. When they come after me, I'll have a place to escape. Anyway, they won't catch me easily. Wait until I've completely ignited the divine fire, then I'll go after them. The woman in white nodded. The stars in her eyes swirled. A chain appeared in front of her, tearing open a space leap layer. Get lost. Don't embarrass me. The woman in white glared at them. The four of them felt a pain in their buttocks as they were kicked into the space leap layer. When they returned to Bei Li's side, the woman in white smiled and patted Bei Li's little head. Little one, I have to meet someone before I leave. Wait for me here. Bei Li nodded her head reluctantly. Beiki, cliffs of desperation. The chain that was sealed underground moved and pulled itself out from the ground. The ground suddenly started to shake. Ah, I'm finally out. The ground started to shake along with the shouts. The woman in white squinted her eyes and smiled as she witnessed the scene. Then, the chain moved again, locking the space and compressing it continuously. A moment later, a red-skinned little boy appeared in front of her. Bastard, what did you do to me? The demonic god roared angrily. You're too big. Don't destroy the land of Beiki, so I compressed it for you. The woman in white waved her hand as if to say, It's not a big deal. Don't mind it. Upon hearing this, the demonic god's blood pressure rose and a crimson mist of blood emerged from his body. I'm going to kill you. Thinking about how he had been sealed by the woman in front of him for countless years and was now being compressed, he could feel his negative emotions surging again. I'll give you a chance. Do you want to be my friend? The woman in white stretched out her right hand. F***Sikayu. The demonic god was about to scold her when he realized that the chains around him had started moving again, as if they were going to imprison him again. I said, we'll be friends and next time we meet. So what do you think? The woman in white waved her hand. F***CK. I'll do it. The demonic god was depressed. He seriously suspected that he would be sealed again by the woman in front of him if he said no. After all, this had happened before, although it was wrong of him to destroy the land of Beiki at that time. After they shook hands, the woman in white squinted her eyes and smiled. You're free now, big guy. Go and have fun. Thanks to you. The demonic god gritted his teeth. You don't have to thank me. Remember not to go around destroying things in the future. If you meet an unreasonable ancient god, you'll be in big trouble. Is there anyone more unreasonable than you? The demonic god roared in his heart, but he did not dare to say it out loud. I'm leaving, but you must remember me as a friend. The woman in white smiled and disappeared on the spot. Looking at the direction in which the woman in white had left, the demonic god had mixed feelings. Logically speaking, this woman was his biggest enemy apart from Hitorigami. However, it was also because of her that the negative emotions in his body were suppressed, allowing him to become rational. It was also because of her that he got to know an old friend like North Sea. Hence, the demonic god was in a dilemma. Should he hate her? Forget it. She's going to disappear anyway. Anyway, I'll remember this grudge. Why become stronger? If we meet again, I'll definitely pay her back. Thinking of this, the demonic god smiled sinisterly. He turned his head toward the direction of the sea and floated into the air. Ah, I'm free. Bang. The flying demonic god collided with the invisible force that sealed the land and slowly slid down. Chapter 220. The seal of heaven and earth slowly dissipated, and the figure of the woman in white faded away. Sister, Bei Li threw herself into her arms again reluctantly. The woman in white rubbed Bei Li's little head and showed a hint of relief on her face. Let him help you. Tell him everything when he has the strength. After all, those who have gone beyond the sky will come back one day. Don't bear it alone. If you're gone, then everything will be gone. Bailey's eyes flashed with struggle when she heard this, but she nodded firmly. The woman in white's figure suddenly collapsed and turned into specks of spiritual light. A cat with its eyes tightly shut fell from the spiritual light. Upon seeing this, Bailey quickly stepped forward and caught him. Looking at Lu Wu, who was still in a deep sleep, Bailey's eyes sparkled. She then hugged him and rubbed her face against his. Inside the house, looking at Lu Wu, who was looking at himself in the mirror, Bailey let out a sigh. Lu Wu looked like he was seriously doubting his life, sometimes biting his claws in his mouth, and sometimes scratching his head. Didn't you say that you're willing to bear it? Moreover, it's all in the past. But you didn't say that you're going to turn into a woman to fight, Lu Wu said while biting his little claws. Although the crisis was over, Lu Wu's young heart was still shrouded in shadow. It was too scary. He even lost his dick yesterday. But she's the only one who can resolve this crisis. Bailey looked helpless. I hate it. Lu Wu opened his mouth and bit his claws again, grinding his teeth. Don't worry, it's not a big deal. Now it's time to think about how to speed up the development of the players. Upon hearing that, Lu Wu put down his little claws and his face turned solemn. The crisis in the celestial world was not over yet. Although North Sea bore everything and became the target of the celestial world, there was still a chance. If North Sea was captured and her soul was searched, then he would become the target of the celestial world again. Although Lu Wu had the artifact and could hide in the artifact, even if he could not stay in the three realms, this was not the kind of life he wanted. Therefore, in order to help North Sea get out of danger and to live in this world with dignity, he must have an army of players that could intimidate the forces of the celestial world. Lu Wu, who was originally idle, now had the motivation to become stronger. At the same time, the acceleration of the development of the player forces was once again put on the agenda. Lu Wu and Bailey had already discussed this when they were on their way back. They also contacted Wu Guai and prepared to launch the American server in advance. As for the location of the birthplace, after a discussion between Lu Wu and Bailey, they decided to build the players' first foothold in the most chaotic region of Naraka, which was far away from Beiki and Sangshu. Although the difficulty of survival in this area was extremely high, it was also filled with abundant resources. As long as one could survive the novice stage, their development would become extremely fast. At the same time, Lu Wu decided to manage the server himself. Due to the fact that the American server was launched relatively late, Bailey had personally created a completely independent and different game growth method for the players of the American server in order to speed up their development. Mech Warrior System. Research and development was Bailey's forte. It was very easy for Bailey to develop a growth system that focused on technology and supplemented by cultivation. After Bailey had set up the template for these technological developments, every time a player leveled up, the soul power obtained would be used to enhance the performance of the mech. At the same time, they could also use the spiritual ores from the underworld to modify the mech at the NPC's place. There were many ways to grow. In terms of the initial class settings, there were 3 directions for the time being. Lightsaber mech, a melee class that uses a lightsaber as its main weapon, paired with a laser dagger and a small caliber energy gun. Soul power distribution after leveling up focuses on enhancing the strength of the lightsaber and mech, supplemented by enhancing the laser dagger and small caliber energy gun. Rechargeable mech, a long-range attack class that can flexibly use various types of rechargeable weapons. Initially equipped with laser cannons, Gauss sniper rifles, and other weapons. Weak in melee combat. Soul power distribution after leveling up focuses on enhancing the performance of the weapon, supplemented by the strength of the mech. Auxiliary mech, a combat support class that can create nano-mech repair balls and control fields, gravity field, repulsive field, and mech repair field. Equipped with lightsaber and small caliber energy gun. Soul power distribution after leveling up focuses on enhancing the processing plant in the mech cabin, supplemented by the strength of the mech. Although this growth system would help the players of the American server to grow faster, they also had a fatal weakness, which was their physical bodies. As long as the mech was destroyed, the players inside would basically be lambs waiting to be slaughtered without any combat ability. Everything had to be given up. However, Lu Wu still made a suggestion, which was to add a system in the shop of the American server that could recycle spiritual materials in exchange for physical experience. The existence of this system separated the growth of the players of the American server into two systems, one main and one auxiliary. The soul power that the main body obtained from killing monsters would all be used to upgrade the mech, while the physical body would be improved by the soul power, experience, obtained from selling spiritual materials in the shop. This would also give the players of the American server another channel to spend money. After all, the demand of the players of the American server for spiritual materials was very low. Instead, their biggest demand was spiritual ore, which was the main material to upgrade the mech's additional performance. After the release of the spiritual material recycling system, it would also help to stabilize the spiritual material market in the American server. At the same time, it would also give Lu Wu more channels to earn soul coins, killing two birds with one stone. After all, there would always be strange players who would come up with different ways to play the game. For example, after the mech was destroyed, the player who would jump out from the mech would still be very strong and could fight the enemy for 300 rounds. Bailey immediately agreed to Lu Wu's suggestion and once again devoted herself to research and development. In about 3 days, the overall growth plan for the players of the American server was almost complete. As for the reliability of the new growth system, Lu Wu was not worried. After all, Bailey was the best in the field of research and development, and there had never been a problem. As for himself, after knowing that he was the creator of the law of random fate in his past life, Lu Wu's intention to learn from Bailey was shattered. He knew that he really did not have the talent, so it was better for him to stay on the sidelines. After everything was finalized, Lu Wu had to quietly wait for Wu Guo's reply, and then he would start his global plan for Battle Online. At the same time, Lu Wu also had a plan in his mind, which was to expand the territory of the Beiki army. This step had to be taken sooner or later. There were already many Ghost Commander-level powerhouses among the players, and they had the strength to compete with many forces. The horn of conquering other regions had already sounded in Lu Wu's heart. Chapter 221. Wei City, Chi Dragon. Mo Xiaoxin, who had just resigned, walked out of the company. He leisurely lit a cigarette and strolled to the subway station. Since it was rush hour after work, the subway station was very crowded. After swiping his card, Mo Xiaoxin spent some effort to squeeze into the subway. As the subway moved, Mo Xiaoxin looked around, trying to find an empty place to stand. However, as soon as he lifted his foot, a middle-aged woman beside him let out a shrill scream. Mo Xiaoxin quickly apologized when he saw that he had stepped on someone. "Do you have eyes? Are you a pig? How could you step on someone like that?" Faced with the middle-aged woman who kept on yelling and scolding, Mo Xiaoxin picked his ear. Then, he swiped the screen of his phone and opened the Tomcat app. Tomcat is an app that can repeat what you say. 5 minutes later, when the middle-aged woman was about to pause, Tomcat on Mo Xiaoxin's app spoke. "Do you have eyes? You stupid pig." The middle-aged woman was furious and started scolding again. Mo Xiaoxin, on the other hand, held the handrail and held the phone calmly. He didn't even say a word. The passengers around them couldn't help but laugh when they heard Tomcat and the middle-aged woman scolding each other. The scene made Mo Xiaoxin look like an outsider. It seemed that the middle-aged woman was quarreling with her phone. When the subway arrived at the station, Mo Xiaoxin got off under the middle-aged woman's stare and walked home leisurely. After resigning, he would lose a stable source of income in the future. However, Mo Xiaoxin wasn't worried about it all. Because he was a player of Battle Online, he could totally support himself by carrying bricks in the game. Thinking of Battle Online, Mo Xiaoxin couldn't help but smile. He felt that there were talents everywhere in the game. All of them had nice words. He really liked it there. When he got home, he didn't enter the gaming cabin. Instead, he turned on his computer. After logging into the forum, a smile appeared on his face. He glanced through the posts on the forum and then fixed his eyes on a post that was debating whether the knight or the zombie had a stronger defense. After reading the original poster's comments and opinions, as well as the opinions of the players who replied below, Mo Xiaoxin immediately typed a paragraph and attached a picture. It's obvious that the knight is stronger than the zombies, because doggy knight charge. JPG, let me understand. Laughing emoji. Just as he thought, Go Z quickly came over after hearing the news and threatened him to delete the pictures. Mo Xiaoxin calmly lit a cigarette, took a drag, and typed a line of words. Stroking the head of a dog with a smile. Laughing face. Then he exited the thread and clicked on the next thread to begin his appraisal. That's right. Mo Xiaoxin was known as the epic contrarian in the forum, the crayon Shinchan, who had offended countless players. Because he was very good at hiding himself. Even if the forum was full of hate, no one knew his identity in the game, so he was still safe and sound. Mo Xiaoxin had to thank his mother for this. If it wasn't for his mother's teaching from a young age, Mo Xiaoxin felt that the intensity of being hunted in the game would not be any lower than who he's. He still clearly remembered that when he was young, his mother had told him not to drink overnight water. Mo Xiaoxin, who had been a stickler since he was young, asked his mother, "Can water boiled at 6 o'clock in the morning be drunk at 6?" His mother said yes. He asked again, "Can we drink water at 9 o'clock in the evening at 9 o'clock in the morning?" His mother said no. At that time, Mo Xiaoxin's stickler attribute exploded. The same 12-hour water, the same storage environment, and the low temperature at night is good for preservation. Why can't the latter be drunk? This time, Mo Xiaoxin's mother did not answer. She raised the feather duster and started hitting him, praising him for being good at thinking. As for why she hit him, it was purely because she was in a bad mood. At that moment, Mo Xiaoxin knew that he had to hide his talents and attributes. He must not expose them, or he would definitely be beaten up. However, the online world was unrestrained. After coming into contact with this world, he found that he liked it. Because he could argue it will here, even if the other party was exasperated, it was fine as long as they did not crawl out of the screen to hit him. After half an hour of attracting hatred, Mo Xiaoxin calmly exited the forum under the various requests of the players to report their addresses. He went to the side of the gaming cabin and entered it. Mo Xiaoxin's figure appeared in the game. Looking at the purple staff that he had painstakingly bought, Mo Xiaoxin nodded in satisfaction. Just then, a series of beeps sounded from his friend list. After checking it, he found that they were basically invitations from his friends in the game for activities such as dungeons or going out to sea. After thinking about it, Mo Xiaoxin replied to them one by one and kindly rejected their invitations. Then, he walked toward the beach. This time, he planned to go out to sea alone to try his luck and see if he could catch a few spiritual fish, which he could sell for a good price. Of course, the biggest reason was that he could browse the forum when he was fishing. Through the teleportation portal, he arrived near the Lioli coast. Mo Xiaoxin was about to summon his private specter ship when he suddenly noticed that there were two people staring at him. He immediately looked to his side with a smile. Just as he was about to greet them, he found that the two people looked very familiar. They were the couple killers, Murphy and Little Pomelo. "How are you? What can I do for you?" Mo Xiaoxin said with a smile. Although he was a little worried, he did not think that the two people in front of him would know that he was Crayon Shinchan because he had never exposed anything. After all, in the game, he was a very friendly backline mage in the eyes of his guild friends. His personality was also very gentle, so he was definitely someone to be friends with. "Do you know Crayon Shinchan?" Little Pomelo twirled the dagger in her hand and smiled slyly. Hearing this, Mo Xiaoxin was shocked, but then he smiled again and said, "That bastard? How would I know him? I've even been bullied by him before. I hate him too. Stop pretending. We already know that it's you. Otherwise, why do you think we're here?" Little Pomelo turned into a shadow and moved forward, appearing behind Mo Xiaoxin. Hearing this, Mo Xiaoxin was a little confused. He was sure that apart from being unscrupulous in the forum, he had never exposed himself in the game. How could he be discovered this time? However, after thinking about it carefully, he felt that something was wrong. He had been hanging around the forum for years, so naturally, he had seen the posts of this couple of bounty killers' live assassinations many times. According to their style, once they confirmed their target, they would definitely make a move immediately without any hesitation. This time, they were talking nonsense with him, so there must be a trap. Thinking of this, Mo Xiaoxin sighed. Are you guys mistaken? Although my name has the word Shinchan in it, I'm really not that shameless crayon Shinchan. If you don't believe me, you can ask my friends in the guild. They will tell you what kind of person I am. Feeling the coldness on his neck, Mo Xiaoxin did not show any fear. Instead, his tone was filled with complaints. At this time, the dagger on his neck was moved away. Mo Xiaoxin turned around and found little Pomelo bowing to him very politely. Sorry to disturb you. We got the wrong person. Mother Kerr, it's really a trap. Fortunately, I've been quick-witted since I was young. Seeing this scene, Mo Xiaoxin breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, he smiled at Murphy and little Pomelo. It's okay, it's okay. I hope you guys find him soon and kill him to vent your anger. We will. Although we have no grudge against him, the forum's crowdfunding has reached 30,000 soul coins. We must kill him. Hearing this, Mo Xiaoxin's face twitched slightly. All the best. Chapter 222. In the void ocean, the demonic god was hovering in mid-air with a red fishing rod condensed from his blood and chi. Looking at the blue sky, the deep ocean, and the occasional chirping of seabirds, the demonic god was elated. This was the first time he felt that happiness was so simple. As the fishing rod shook, the demonic god was delighted. Although he could catch fish easily, he was enjoying the beauty of the world. Naturally, he did not want to use such a violent method. He enjoyed fishing very much. Looking at a red spiritual fish leaping out of the water, the ripples it created sparkled under the sunlight. The demonic god smiled happily. He was about to reach for it. Suddenly, a huge black shadow that covered 1,000 meters appeared on the surface of the water. As the demonic god was stunned, a huge creature leaped out of the water and swallowed the red spiritual fish. It also bit off the fishing line that he had condensed with his blood and chi. Boom! The huge fish leaped into the water again, splashing waves all over the demonic god. What the F***CK? Seeing the huge shadow on the surface of the water slowly fade away, the demonic god felt his negative emotions surging. I'll beat you to death. Accompanied by the demonic god's roar, he leaped into the water and chased after the huge fish. Watching Mo Xiaoxin leave on his private specter ship, little Pomelo and Murphy were a little depressed. Murphy, do we really have to look for all the players with Xiaoxin in their names? There's no other way. This crayon Xiaoxin didn't leave any clues. We can only test them one by one. Murphy sighed helplessly. Mo Xiaoxin heaved a sigh of relief as he watched the two of them leave. He had really escaped from the jaws of death this time. If they really targeted him, Mo Xiaoxin felt that he might as well stay in the safe zone. After all, Senior, who he was a good role model, his future was going to be miserable. Thinking of this, Mo Xiaoxin wiped the sweat off his forehead and felt lucky. The specter ship drifted away with the ups and downs of the waves, gradually approaching the void ocean. Mo Xiaoxin took out his fishing equipment from his channel and was ready to start his daily routine of carrying bricks. What Mo Xiaoxin did not notice was that there were two figures squatting on the top of the mast beside them. They glanced at Mo Xiaoxin from time to time, their faces full of suspicion. Murphy and little Pomelo had initially given up, but the more they thought about it, the more they felt that something was amiss. The assassin's intuition told them that this person was very suspicious, so they decided to observe him for a while longer. Perhaps there would be unexpected gains. However, after following it for half an hour, the two of them did not find any clues, which made them even more confused. After pondering for a while, little Pomelo turned on the live stream. Since the two of them couldn't identify the person, they would gather the strength of the forum players to identify the person. Soon, a post appeared on the official forum. My intuition tells me that he's Crayon Shinchan. Does anyone have a good way to identify him? Peppa Boar. The bounty killer has finally backstabbed the cancer of the forum. Good luck. Laughing emoji. Shueli underscore the underscore strongest. Based on my experience of reading Crayon Shinchan's comments over the past few months, you guys can ask him a question to test him. If he goes back on his words, just kill him. Watermelon underscore Turo. There should be a reply from Crayon underscore Shinchan soon. If there isn't, then plus 50% suspicion. A big wolf dog. My sharp sense of smell tells me that he is. Assassin's Creed. He's too good at hiding. If you really want to look for clues, it'll probably be very difficult to find them in the game. However, his personal characteristics are also very obvious, which is that he's a bicker, so you can only start with that. Cheated of 8,000 renminbi. That's not easy. He's not stupid. He won't dare to argue with you guys. The only way is to wait for him to open the forum. Take a closer look. There are IDs on the forum. The players on the forum began to discuss how to identify if this person was Crayon Shinchan. However, under normal circumstances, Crayon Shinchan would appear quickly upon encountering such posts. But now, he did not appear on the forum to mock everyone for overestimating themselves, which aroused everyone's suspicions. However, there was always a chance. He definitely couldn't directly confirm that this person was Crayon Shinchan. What if something happened to happen today? Hence, everyone once again started a heated discussion. Various methods of probing were proposed, and some players even shouted the slogan, "It's better to kill the wrong person than let the wrong person go." It could be seen how much hatred everyone had for this forum's contrarians. After reading the players' replies, little Pomelo nodded and began to carefully observe Crayon Shinchan. There was one thing that everyone agreed on. It was impossible to identify whether this person was Crayon Shinchan in the game, so they could only start from the forum. Hence, the two of them squatted in the air and began to carefully observe Mo Xiaoxin below, waiting for him to open the forum panel so that they could find the key clues. Below, Mo Xiaoxin, who was holding a fishing rod, had his back to the two people in the sky. His forehead was full of sweat. Damn it. Luckily, I'm smart enough to spend a lot of money to max out my detect skill. Otherwise, I would have been killed by you guys. Mo Xiaoxin, who was below, pretended to be calm and refused to open the forum. He held the fishing rod and looked at the boundless sea, as if he was enjoying the scenery. This made Murphy and little Pomelo extremely depressed. Why was it so difficult to look at the forum panel? After a battle of wits and courage that lasted for 3 hours, the two finally couldn't stand it anymore. They descended from the top of the mast and appeared beside Mo Xiaoxin. Bang! The sound of landing was heard. Mo Xiaoxin pretended to be shocked and quickly turned around. It's you guys? Why are you on my boat? Just passing by. Murphy said coldly. Who are you trying to fool? We're surrounded by the boundless sea. Why don't you try to act like you're passing by? Mo Xiaoxin wanted to give him a hard time, but he resisted the urge. Isn't that inappropriate? I've already said that I'm not Crayon Shinchan. Why are you still following me secretly? I'm really sorry, Crayon Shinchan. Little Pomelo said apologetically. Mo Xiaoxin raised his hand when he heard that. Don't try that. I'm really not Crayon Shinchan. Don't test me. You're still too young to try to trick me. Mo Xiaoxin was proud of himself. Then there's nothing more to say. Open your forum to prove yourself. Murphy and little Pomelo said as they took out their daggers. Why should I open the forum? I don't like the forum, and I haven't registered an account there. Mo Xiaoxin's expression changed when he heard that he had to open the forum. Then register an ID on the spot. You won't lose anything anyway. Moreover, the forum ID is tied to your account. This will definitely prove your innocence. Seeing that Mo Xiaoxin's forehead began to sweat, the players who were watching the live stream suddenly became excited. Watermelon underscore Taro. Wow. It seems that we found Crayon Shinchan. This is exciting. Eat melon. Eat melon. A underscore large underscore wolf dog. Kill him quickly. I'll wait for him in the safe zone. Smirking emoji. Shueli underscore the underscore strongest. Haha. Looking at the changes in his facial expression, he really seems to be Crayon Shinchan. Invincible underscore loneliness. Who was the one who said that he had jumped out of the 3 realms and was not in the 5 elements? It's impossible to find him with the strength of mortals. Laughing emoji. The players were discussing among themselves, and they had basically confirmed that this person was Crayon Shinchan. Murphy and Little Pomelo also smiled as they placed the daggers in their hands on Mo Xiaoxin's neck. Looks like it's you. But at this moment, a figure appeared in the live stream. Crayon Shinchan, stupid mortals, I said that I've jumped out of the 3 realms and not in the 5 elements. You can't find me. Why don't you believe me? Laughing emoji. Crayon Shinchan. Looks like I'm about to kill someone. Eat melon +1. Laughing emoji. Crayon Shinchan. Do it, or else I'm going to eat. Exasperated emoji. His appearance left the players in the forum dumbfounded. It was impossible for the ID name to be repeated. Since Crayon Shinchan had appeared here, the person in the game was definitely not Crayon Shinchan. The sudden change caught everyone off guard. Little Pomelo and Murphy were also dumbfounded. Looking at Mo Xiaoxin's frightened expression, they were speechless. If you're not Crayon Shinchan, why don't you just open the forum to prove it? Why make it so complicated? Not only is it a waste of time, but it's also a waste of emoji. The two of them sheathed their daggers and bowed again to apologize. Mo Xiaoxin, on the other hand, let out a long sigh of relief. This time, he felt that he was smart because he had already figured out what was going on. Just half an hour ago, he specially contacted his mother, who was playing Battle Online next door, through his friend list. He asked her to come to his room and enter the forum through the computer that was already logged into his account. If it wasn't for this precaution, he felt that he would not be able to escape this disaster. Sure enough, intelligence was a good thing. Villains without it had to die. Then, can you leave now? Mo Xiaoxin, who had already regained his confidence, asked the two of them impatiently. No, although you're not Crayon Shinchan, we suspect that you're one of the haters in the forum. Open the forum for us to see. Maybe you're also on the bounty list. Even though he had already apologized, Murphy and Little Pomelo had no intention of letting him go. Mo Xiaoxin was instantly dumbfounded. Just when Mo Xiaoxin was at a loss of what to do, Murphy and Little Pomelo flashed their daggers again. The boat suddenly tilted and slid to the right. The few of them quickly stabilized themselves and held onto the edge of the boat to prevent themselves from falling into the water. In their vision, the surface of the water quickly protruded into a huge semicircular water screen. Then a huge fish head broke through the water screen and grew larger in their vision. A fish, a huge fish, a super huge fish. Seeing this gigantic monster, the three of them and the players who were watching the live broadcast were stunned. They were all familiar with this fish. It was the overlord of the void ocean, Tao Wu. However, what surprised them was that there was another creature in Tao Wu's mouth. It was a boy with crimson hair and skin. They found it unbelievable that he could withstand Tao Wu's bite with just his physical strength. Accompanied by the crimson-haired boy's roar, the huge body of Tao Wu was pulled out of the water bit by bit. "Give me back my fish!" the crimson-haired boy roared angrily. Tao Wu did not answer, but continued to struggle. This seemed to have angered the crimson-haired boy. He turned around and flung Tao Wu towards the surface of the sea, stirring up a huge wave that was hundreds of meters high. Mo Xiaoxin and the other two were hit by the huge wave with a shocked look on their faces. The boat fell apart, and they were also slammed into the water, spinning in the tumbling sea. They struggled to swim to the surface of the sea, but before they could reach the surface, they were slammed into the water by the huge wave again. This time, they were knocked unconscious. Until death, they did not know what had happened. It seemed like the quarrel was triggered by Tao Wu owing them a fish. Chapter 223. The battle between Tao Wu and the demonic god had attracted the attention of the players. In order to find out what was going on, a large number of players set out to sea to capture first-hand information. At this stage of the game, there were many media organizations. Naturally, they wouldn't want to miss such a report. However, the scope of the battle was far beyond Lu Wu's expectations. The demonic god and Tao Wu were almost indestructible. The storm that they set off in the void ocean had affected many forces. Among them, the ones who were affected the most were the death calamity. At the border of the void ocean, The players' warships were docked there. The players took out their binoculars, turned on the recording function, and began to watch from afar. However, apart from the spectators, there was an even more powerful force that had joined the battle. It was the Death Clan. As the Abyss Clan, they didn't care whether it was Tao Wu or the demonic god. They would devour any creature that appeared in front of them. Therefore, this group of ants in the eyes of Tao Wu and the demonic god started to harass them from all directions. The players were overjoyed. At this stage, except for a few major guilds, no one dared to step into the Void Ocean. This was because the Death Clan occupied the interior of the Void Ocean. Not only were their numbers terrifying, but they were also extremely powerful. However, these overconfident people dared to challenge Tao Wu and the demonic god. This was a delightful scene. As Tao Wu and the demonic god rolled around, the Death Clan along the way were all crushed into powder by the energy impact. The ocean was dyed black. Watermelon_Taro. This is going to be a good show. Fight. Fight to the death and destroy the Death Clan. A_large_wolfdog. Actually, I'm more concerned about who Crayon_Shinchan is. I thought I could have my revenge today. Crayon_Shinchan replied to A_large_wolfdog, patting the dog's head with a smile. Dog Night Charge. JPG 173 Media Department. Exciting. I'm writing while watching. Exciting. Shanghai Media Department. This game is really awesome. The world structure doesn't revolve around the players at all. The whole world has its own system, just like this battle. Exciting. Shuali_the_strongest. Don't you guys sleep? Why are you here watching Godzilla fight Ultraman? Slams table. Count me in. _cheated_8000_and_online_love. I have a bold idea. Can we go and kill them when they are in critical condition? At the bottom of the sea king, who was wearing a black armor full of spikes, opened his black eyes. After such a long time, the sea should have accumulated enough combat power. It's time to take revenge. You're really suitable to be one of our clansmen because you have the desire to destroy everything in your heart. At that moment, a black frog jumped onto the Sea King's shoulder. Shut up. The Sea King impatiently slapped the frog off his shoulder, then lifted his foot and stomped on it. You pudgy. With a sound, the black frog was trampled into black mist. It slowly floated up and then condensed back into its original form. Muhai, you should know that your strength belongs to me. Without me, you are nothing. The voice of the black frog became gloomy. Is that so? The Sea King took out the Death's Light Wheel, Mu Zhiguang's weapon. The black frog was horrified. If you're not here, won't you be mine? As the Sea King grinned hideously, the sacred weapon of death, which he had never been able to control, began to glow and absorb the black frog. Let me out. How dare you betray me? An angry shout came from the light wheel, but the Sea King only smiled disdainfully. Although he could not kill the source of the Death Clan, he could completely imitate Mu Zhiguang and seal him after he had mastered the power of the Death Clan. Without the King of Death, who was in charge of everything, the power would naturally belong to him, including the Death Clan. Looking at the spiritual bodies of the Death Clan that were still floating out of the seal, the Sea King was excited. He suddenly swept toward the sea. He had been waiting for this battle for a long time. It was time to start. With excitement, the Sea King quickly floated toward the sea. After leaping out of the water, his body was suspended in the air. He opened his arms and looked up at the moon. Evil people of the Death Clan, with me bang! An energy shockwave came from afar and sent him flying. After stabilizing his body in the air, the Sea King immediately turned around angrily to see who had sneaked up on him. However, the scene in front of him left him dumbfounded. The sea was dyed black, and there were torn bodies of the monsters of the Death Clan everywhere. It looked like a charaba. Ooh, who did this? The Sea King was so angry that he could not help but roar. At this time, the surface of the water was boiling. Then, Tao Wu's huge body leaped from the water and drew a half-moon trajectory in the air. Its tail fiercely whipped the Sea King's body and slapped him into the water. Walala, walala! The spectators who saw this scene from afar began to applaud in unison. Good. Let it be arrogant. Cool. Full marks for this attack. Ha ha. Isn't that the Sea King? What is he trying to do when the gods are fighting? Why is he so arrogant? The spectators jeered. Some even took out tablecloths and ingredients to cook on the spot. They looked like they were waiting to watch a good show. At this time, dozens of warships came from the north. Among them, the super warship was the most eye-catching. This made the players on the original server immediately vigilant. Don't be nervous, everyone. We saw your live thread on the forum, so we came to watch. Li Xing shouted in the regional channel. The players were stunned when they heard this. However, Li Xing and the warships of the European server were approaching. However, they did not do anything outrageous. Instead, they took out their binoculars and began to watch. They applauded from time to time, turning into a spectator. In the end, the players of the European server and the original server began to exchange specialties and food. They even played battle background music in the regional channel to accompany the battle between the demonic god and Tao Wu. They looked like they were having fun. Lu Wu, who was observing them from behind the scenes, could not help but cover his face when he saw the players' lackadaisical behavior. Instead of going to level up, they gathered here to watch the battle between Tao Wu and the demonic god. How useless! The players' behavior made Lu Wu so angry that he slapped the floor. He was exasperated that they did not live up to his expectations. The Sea King's face turned extremely ugly when he emerged from the water. The Death Clan that was spread all over the sea was his preparation for the invasion of Baiki. However, they were all wiped out after he did not come up to check. He could not accept it, especially after seeing Tao Wu's behavior. He knew Tao Wu's personality very well. Although it was the true overlord of the Void Ocean, it was very peaceful. Other than eating occasionally, it slept at the bottom of the sea all year round. However, it had gone crazy today and killed the entire army of the Death Clan. The Sea King would never believe that Tao Wu hated the Death Clan. When the Death Clan and the Mute clan fought to the death, the scale of the battle was even larger. Why did it not intervene? At this moment, the surface of the water boiled again. The Sea King quickly dodged. However, he managed to dodge Tao Wu's attack. A huge red figure leaped out of the water again and grabbed Tao Wu's tail. Tao Wu immediately began to struggle with all his might and let out a long cry. However, the demonic god did not care about that. He grabbed Tao Wu's tail and spun him on the spot before throwing him to the right. The Sea King, who thought that he had dodged the attack, was hit by Tao Wu again. Clatter, clatter, clatter. The spectating players clapped in unison once again. Nice! Chapter 224. Update 2. Guild Station System activated. The official forum of Battle Online was bustling with activity as everyone was discussing the content of the new expansion pack. As for the counterattack against Baiki, he decided to put it aside for the time being. With the Abyss of Death as his backing and an endless supply of abyssal monsters, his army of death would soon be formed again. The battle between Tao Wu and the demonic god lasted for another 2 hours before it ended. In his impression, Tao Wu was completely invincible in the Void Ocean, but now he was being beaten up. After the invasion of Baiki, the monarch of the Mutesi nation, Mu Zhiguang, died in battle. The Sea King was lucky enough to escape, but he did not give up on the evil idea of taking over Baiki. He willingly fell into death and became the Lord of Death, releasing the Death Clan buried deep in the seabed. Facilities that can be added in the future: processing workshop, armament workshop, playground, breeding farm, spiritual field, hall of honor, guild store, etc. As a mastermind behind the scenes, he unleashed the ultimate move that he had been preparing for a long time. Update 3. Items added in the shop. Not only did they get the flying equipment that they had been dreaming of, but they also got the offline hack equipment to grow. What made the major guilds even more excited was the guild station system with various functions. At this moment, the players realized that they had fallen in love with the Sea King, their old rival. He was so outstanding that he had given them such a big gift. Cultivation field. Important guild players can exchange their contribution points for cultivation specializations here. The Void Ocean that the players did not like to go to became a hot spot again. In the Sea King's opinion, Baiki would be his sooner or later. As for the forces of Baiki, he would use the cruelest way to kill them all. Guild Warehouse. Guild members can store their personal items here. Initial storage capacity is twice that of their personal space. Wings of Death, Level 1. Flying equipment. You can exchange the body of the Death Clan at the NPC in the Battle Management Hall of the Mansion of the Dead for growth. You can fly after level 10. The Sea King, who was sent flying again, was completely dumbfounded. Watermelon_Taro. My hands are shaking. Sotao Wu and the demonic god fought yesterday and destroyed countless of her death points. I want to strangle them. A_Mammoth. Go Sea King. +1-inch crayon_Shinchan replied to Watermelon_Taro. That's not what you said yesterday. Not only could they learn specializations, but there was also the astrology station that provided a 10-hour buff. All of these were great items to speed up the development of the guild. Updated content. There was even a technical player who drew a funny comic strip about the evil god in Tao Wu and received a lot of soul coins as a reward. Yi Shui'er is the cutest reply to the leader of the demolition officers. Bleeding Knife, Speed Mastery. 1% increases attack and movement speed by 1%. Leader of the demolition officers. The guild encampment is awesome, but it seems like I don't need to bid for it. Sai, I really want to compete with you guys. I'm so worried. Price, 1,000 soul coins. Death Coffin, Level 1. This item can be activated after logging off. Your character in the game will be in an AFK state and gain a small amount of experience every hour. You can use the body of a member of the Death Clan to exchange for death points at the Battle Management Hall of the Dead NPC to level up. Every level up will gain a small amount of experience. However, now that the Death Clan have been slaughtered by Tao Wu and the demonic god, there were not enough death monsters to go around. Invincible_Loneliness replied to the leader of the demolition crew. Bleeding Knife. Back then, the Death Tribe had been plagued by undead monsters, making it difficult for them to survive. Hence, their harvest from the sea had also been low. However, things are different now. In the eyes of the players, the Death Tribe was full of treasures, and they loved them dearly. Witnessing this epic war with their own eyes undoubtedly made the players very excited. Even though the war had ended, the discussion did not stop. Sea King, all the best. Tavern, entertainment, the entertainment place for the guild members. Drinks are provided internally and can be purchased with soul coins. Free drinks will be available every Sunday. After the upgrade of the guild, the area of the tavern has been expanded and various entertainment facilities have been added. Attack Mastery. 1% increases damage by 1%, combined attack and spells. Who is that red figure? How could he have such terrifying strength? The Sea King was shocked. Content. After this update, the guild encampment will be available for auction in the Liuli Sea and the Border of the Dead. Lu Wu could not stand it anymore when he saw how carefree the players were. This situation infuriated the players. One by one, they strongly requested the game developers to strengthen the Sea King's strength and enhance the reproduction ability of the Death Clan. How could they be so useless? What happened to the promise of working hard to level up and earning soul coins to support me? Although the Death Clan's forces on the sea had been destroyed, there was still their endless army in the abyss under the sea. Hence, Lu Wu did not think that the war was over yet. I'm so worried. Special Combat Mastery Learning, Death Tree, Sapling, Level 1. It can be grown by watering the body of the Death Clan. It can produce a one-time use Death Warrior. When it reaches level 100, it can grow into a Death Tree Demon, can produce spiritual material level fruits. After the mournful wail ended, the gigantic Tao Wu dove into the sea again. Price, 1,000 soul coins. Update 1. Reputation system is fully activated. Astrology Tower. The guild members can spend 300 contribution points to obtain a random 10-hour buff blessing, limited to 1 per day. After the upgrade, different types of buffs and the probability of obtaining advanced buffs will be added. He was looking forward to this day. This made Lu Wu, who was observing them from behind the scenes, completely speechless. Defense Mastery. 1% increases defense by 1%, combined endurance and physical strength. However, this was not important anymore. The most important thing now was to stay alive. Residential area. This area can be provided to the guild's exclusive NPCs. Initial capacity is 5 people. However, he really could not fulfill the player's request. He could only rely on the Sea King to live up to his expectations. On the other hand, Tao Wu floated on the surface of the water and let out a long cry, as if it was crying. Shueli _the strongest. How could the Death Clan be so careless and provoke the game developers? This new expansion pack clearly wants to exterminate their clan. They are so evil. I like it. Laughing emoji. However, I continued to eat melons. Council Hall. The core building of the guild. It determines the upper limit of the guild level. After the upgrade, the area of the encampment can be expanded and the functions of various buildings can be optimized. Requires contribution points to upgrade. After the disappearance of the Sea King, the battle between the demonic god and Tao Wu suddenly became less interesting to the players. Guild members can obtain contribution points by donating spiritual materials, spiritual ores, and other valuable items to the steward of the encampment. Various battle analysis posts emerged one after another. Thus, he turned around and leaped into the water, speeding towards the direction of the abyss at the bottom of the sea. Note, the higher the percentage of the mastery level, the higher the requirement for contribution points. As usual, they drank and chatted merrily under the moonlight. It was a lively scene. An hour after the update, a large number of guild ships set sail towards the void ocean, not forgetting to dig water. Sea King, go for it. +3 captain of the demolition officers. My hands are shaking too. Come to think of it, the epic battle yesterday was such a waste. At least a few 100 million death points were burnt. What a scam. If all these death points were given to me, I could grow a King world tree. I could have grown a pair of huge wings that could circle the earth with one flap. I could have grown a super coffin that could level up by just doing nothing. Exasperated emoji. At this stage, he wanted to expand the territory of Baiki. The void ocean in the south was a big problem. Initially, he planned to wipe out the Death Clan before expanding further. However, not only was this problem solved, it seemed like the players were not satisfied with the strength of their opponents. Encampment content. The space within the guild encampment is independent from a world. The exterior is a teleportation door, while the interior is used for guild development. The specific functions are divided into Strike Gold replied to the captain of the demolition officers, Bleeding Blade, content, non-server activities. Apart from retaining the original reputation system function, only 10% of reputation points will be obtained from killing monsters of the Death Clan. At the end of the fight, Tao Wu seemed to have given in. While he was being beaten, he managed to catch a spiritual fish of similar quality to the one that the demonic god had caught. Only then did the demonic god give up on beating him. He carried the red fish and flew away happily. Lua did not know whether to laugh or cry at the player's request. Under the temptation of huge benefits, the players were ready to launch a crusade against the Death Clan. Perhaps even the Sea King did not expect this. Assassin's Creed. Sea King, go for it. +2-inch endless death monsters are about to wreak havoc in the void ocean. This territory that is close to our sea is waiting for us to conquer. The progress of history has begun, and the crusade has begun once again. The game update this time made the players go crazy again. However, after the gathering at night, the players did not enthusiastically level up. Instead, they focused their attention on the battle. He did not want to get involved in such a terrifying battle. He might be crushed to death. There were even a few guilds that fought over the distribution of the Death Clan's monsters during the operation to wipe out the Death Clan. Specialization in special equipment, meanwhile. Wu Guai, Yi Shuer, Guyu, and the others recalled that they had lost the priority to purchase the city of Baiki back then. They could not help but beat their feet and chest. The sorrow in their hearts could not be described with words. They didn't expect the encampment to be so powerful. Peppa Boar. I strongly condemn the wasteful actions of good and evil gods. Please make up for the players' losses. Funny, a large wolf dog. Back then, I didn't dare to go to the void ocean. But now, I think the Death Clan is going to be wiped out. Everyone, please take care of the new forces and don't overcut them. This time, 150 residences were temporarily open. The winner of the city of Baiki would get one for free, while the remaining 149 residences would be auctioned. The Castellan of the 100 Fortresses Hegemony competition would have priority in the auction. Price, 10,000 soul coins. You guys have changed. You don't fight as hard as you used to. Thinking of this, the Sea King's face revealed a sinister smile. Cheated 8,000 yuan from online dating. You guys were so happy yesterday, but you're regretting it today. But don't be afraid. Let's cheer for our old rival, the Sea King. Breed more death monsters and beg him to take revenge soon. The evil forces of players can't wait any longer. They're very anxious, funny. The players cannot help but sigh. Why didn't the Sea King come out to be beaten up? He's too much. He doesn't respect the players at all. Game update. Disaster of death. However, the enthusiasm of the players was exactly what he needed, especially when he saw the soul coins increasing by leaps and bounds every day. Even Lu Wu could not help but shout. Crayon Shinshan replied to the captain of the demolition officers. Why didn't you give you the address of Battle Online's boss? You forced him to give you an official cheat to become a god. Funny. The new expansion pack to counterattack the Death Clan was released. Chapter 225. East of the Void Ocean, underwater in the central region of the Kuelong Ocean. The entire body of water emitted a gentle blue glow, illuminating the underwater world. In this area, there were 7 majestic statues standing in a circle. Each statue held a weapon in its hand and looked down. In front of each statue stood a silhouette. At this moment, a silhouette floated out of the central altar, surrounded by the statues. He held an ancient book in his hand and slowly stood on the altar. The meeting of the 8 sea nations has begun. Prove your identities. The old man who spoke was covered in seaweed and small creatures like seashells. His body was filled with the smell of decay. The monarch of the Tianyu Sea Nation, Tian Kuan. At this moment, the man in front of the old priest raised the ice-blue sword in his hand. Instantly, the statue behind him let out a roar. The monarch of the Xiaoyu Sea Nation, Lan Yu. The monarch of the Black Prison Sea Nation, He Sui. The monarch of the Lan Di Sea Nation, Lan Hushan. The few people present reported their origins and used their clan's sacred weapon and the nation's spirit to prove their identities. After everyone stated their origins, the old priest slowly raised his head and swept his gaze across the area with his dim yellow eyes. Where is the monarch of the Mute Sea Nation? Old priest. The Mute Sea Nation has long been destroyed. Tian Kun looked at the old priest and said respectfully, "That's it." The old priest seemed surprised. He then shook his head and lightly drew a line on the book with his brush. "All right then. From now on, the meeting will be the meeting of the 7 nations." After he was done, the old priest raised his head again. "Can anyone tell me how the Mute Sea Nation was destroyed?" As the leader of the 8 nations, he controlled the entire ocean. Was there any enemy that they couldn't defeat? They were targeted by the Death Clan in the abyss of the Void Ocean. The old monarch was arrogant and fought with Tao Wu. He exhausted his life force, and no one could be the pillar to resist the Death Clan. Naturally, they were destroyed. The monarch of the Black Prison Nation seemed to be extremely dissatisfied with the Mute Sea Nation. "Why didn't you all go to help?" The old shaman asked again. When a Mute Sea Nation was still around, they thought that they had occupied a part of the sea. They were arrogant and bullied us too much. Why should we help them? Moreover, unless all 7 nations join forces to help them, it would be useless. The Death Clan is an immortal existence. The king of Black Hell Kingdom said coldly again, "You have to understand that the 8 great nations are one. We are all descendants of the Nether Sea Kingdom, even if we are divided into 8 great nations. Have you forgotten all of this?" The old shaman seemed very angry, and his body trembled as he spoke. Everyone fell silent after hearing the old shaman's words. Of course, they knew about this part of history. Millions of years ago, the Nether Sea, the super sea nation that dominated the Void, Kuelong, and Jade Spring Seas, was the predecessor of the 8 oceanic nations. The Nether Sea Kingdom was split into 8 different sea kingdoms amidst the endless expansion and chaos of war. Although they did not experience all of this, the clan's history books were proof that everything was as the old shaman had said. Old shaman, we are here according to the ancestral teachings. May I know the topic of today's meeting? Tion Cohen felt that the atmosphere was not right, so he spoke respectfully again. Originally, the meeting was held every 500,000 years to remind the 8 great nations not to forget the ancestral teachings and to accumulate power to recover the glory of the Nether Sea Kingdom in the ancient times. But now I don't think that's necessary. The old shaman's expression was cold. In my opinion, as descendants, you have long forgotten the glory of the past. If that's the case, then the topic of today's meeting shall be the unification of the 7 nations, and the name of the nation shall be changed to the Nether Sea Kingdom. Hearing this, the 7 people present were all shocked. Some of them even showed obvious unwillingness on their faces. I didn't discuss this with you. Now that the strongest Mute Sea Kingdom is gone, if you don't unite, I'm afraid you won't have the chance to recover the Nether Sea Kingdom. Therefore, the topic of today's meeting shall be the unification of the 7 nations and the integration of all forces. Then, old shaman, who shall be the king of the Nether Sea Kingdom? Hey Sway asked indifferently. This was also what the 7 people present wanted to know. Merging was not a big problem for them, as they were not the strongest force in their respective seas. Merging was also beneficial to them, but the biggest problem was who would be the king. It would be fine if they were the king themselves, but they would never agree to use their country's power and resources to help others. The throne of the monarch? What does that have to do with you? The old shaman suddenly sneered. Old man, are you thinking of becoming the king yourself? We respect you because you are the shaman of our ancestral nation, so we gave you some face. But I think you're shameless. Following He Sui's words, the spirit of the nation behind him pointed the giant sword in his hand at the shaman. The situation was a little tense, but the kings of the other 6 nations did not stop them, nor did they stop them. They did not know the strength of the old shaman, and neither did they know his background. Now that there was a hot-tempered shaman who was willing to explore, this was exactly what they wanted to see. The old shaman chuckled. Just as he was about to speak, he saw a figure slowly descending from the sky, entering the area, and looking around curiously. Brothers, underwater exploration is fun. Look what I found. As he spoke, the man began to climb up the giant statue. From my experience, these statues have a long history. If they were sold as antiques, they would definitely fetch a high price. Unfortunately, no one in this world collects antiques. The man continued to swim forward. Meanwhile, in his live streaming channel, Ocean Exploration for 67 days. If I don't find the inheritance, I won't level up. Host, Buchiri Bar Man. Bro, look down there. There are a few humanoid creatures wearing shiny clothes. Are you blind? One Punch Man. Are you blind? Look down there. There are creatures. I think you found the inheritance. Hurry up and talk to them. You'll get the 1 blade 999 inheritance soon. Sword 23. Bro, you've definitely found the inheritance. It's obvious that there's a treasure in the ancient ruins. Ma Bingha, you're so stupid. Look down. Hurry up and look down, stupid streamer. You're always bragging, but you're still serious about archaeology when there's really an inheritance. I suggest banning the poor streamer like you. The commotion in the forum naturally attracted Buchi's attention. He lowered his head and looked down, and he immediately noticed a few pairs of eyes staring at him, all of them looking surprised. Buchi was also stunned when he saw the group of figures in shining armor. As the ocean was covered in a gentle blue light, he did not notice the creatures below. If it were not for the players in the live streaming channel who reminded him, he would have continued to study the statues and made up a sad history for them. Buchi's eyes lit up as he swam down and landed next to the old shaman. You are. The old shaman was shocked. The ocean was ruled by the 7 nations. No other forces would dare to invade this meeting, or else they would have to face the combined suppression of the 7 nations. That was why the old shaman did not understand why Buchi appeared there. What are you guys doing? Buchi asked excitedly. Holding a meeting of the 7 nations to elect a new king. The old shaman could not see through Buchi's background, but he still told the truth. After all, it was not a secret. Since he had decided to make a comeback, he naturally had to tell the world. Buchi's heart tightened when he heard this. He felt that he had really stumbled upon an opportunity, and it was a meeting of the 7 nations. Does that mean that the player who triggered this plot would unlock a hidden quest to inherit the 7 nations and become the king? His mind was suddenly filled with beautiful fantasies. "What do you think of me?" Buchi answered immediately. Hearing this, the faces of the other 7 kings turned green. This was such an important meeting. Who the hell was this guy? He wanted to be the king as soon as he came in. He did not respect him at all. The old shaman was also stunned. He took a closer look at Buchi and asked again, "Who are you?" "Me? I'm a player." Buchi answered matter-of-factly. "In the live streaming channel, Rebar Man." "Idiot, can't you say that you're a citizen of Baki? How would they know what a player is? Why haven't you been banned yet? Why are you always insulting our intelligence?" "One Punch Man, I've reported your live streaming channel. The content is insulting our intelligence." Sword 23. You want us to tip you with your low-quality live streaming content? Go to hell. I suggest banning you forever. 99 days of smoking. I'd better go watch the Beast Taming Master challenge the sea monsters. Learn from him, you trash streamer. Looking at the player's angry bullet screen, Buchi realized the problem and immediately corrected himself. "I'm a member of the Baki army." This time, the others looked at him with even more strange eyes. From their point of view, although the land of Baki was not far from them, it was not close either. Why would a member of the Baki army come here? Moreover, he even dared to say that he wanted to be the king. After all, the combined strength of the 7 nations was not something that Baki could compare with. A member of the Baki army? Why are you here? Heisui's expression gradually turned cold. Buchi was speechless and did not know how to answer. After thinking for a while, he whispered again, "To trigger a mission." Slap. This time, Heisui did not waste any more words. He directly slapped him to death on the spot. As the screen gradually turned black and white, the live streaming channel became more lively. One Punch Man. That's great. The lousy streamer is finally dead. Sword 23. Another player died on the way to find the inheritance. You're not alone, ha ha ha. Rebar Man. But seriously, although this retarded streamer's behavior is retarded, he really found a lot of relics. If it wasn't for this dumb luck, the popularity of his live streaming channel would definitely be 0. 99 days of smoking. Correct answer +1. After the disruption of the players, the atmosphere became solemn again. The choice of the 7 kings was definitely not a trivial matter. They wanted to know what the old shaman meant, and what did he mean by the position of the king had nothing to do with them. The old shaman seemed to have noticed the confusion on their faces. He stomped his feet lightly, and a figure emerged from the altar underwater. It was a handsome young man. He did not look very old, but he had a very distinct characteristic. His eyes were golden, and the runes in his eyes were constantly rotating. He exuded a noble aura. He's the direct descendant of the Nether Sea Kingdom's royal family. Since the 7 nations are united, then let him be the king. Hearing this, the man with golden eyes smiled evilly, as if he was very satisfied with this decision. I disagree. The kings of the other 7 nations immediately objected. What a joke. Although they were the descendants of the Nether Sea Kingdom, they were naturally unwilling to reunite and continue to be loyal to the royal family. It's not up to you. The golden-eyed young man smirked. Then he waved his hand, and rays of golden light appeared around him, sealing off the surroundings. The Nether Sea Kingdom's ocean seal. The 7 people were horrified. They had only heard about the ocean seal in ancient books. It was said that it was extremely powerful and was a national sacred item. Under the cover of the ocean seal, anyone below the peak of the Ghost Emperor realm would be refined. Therefore, they panicked when they saw the ocean seal. I'll give you one more chance. Pledge your loyalty now, or wait for me to kill you all before taking over your sea kingdom. This time, no one objected. Their faces were all pale. Under such circumstances, those who dared to speak first would definitely be killed as a warning to others. Therefore, although they were unwilling, no one spoke up. I have the pure blood of the Nethersea royal family flowing in my body. My future talent is limitless. If I rule over you all, we can once again regain our position as the overlord of the three regions in the ancient times. We might even be stronger than we were in the ancient times. This is the ancestral teaching, and also the will of the sea god. The young man said with anticipation. Hearing the young man's words, the old shaman nodded in satisfaction. He then looked at the 7 people. Just like what the king said, if you are willing to surrender, we will gather the power of the 7 nations and become stronger. You will also become lords. Although your power will be weakened, the area of the sea will be expanded. Why are you dissatisfied? I am willing to surrender. King Sha Shui, who was standing at the end, suddenly said, You useless. No wonder the territory of Sha Shui Kingdom is getting smaller and smaller under your leadership. One unambitious guy. He Sui immediately glanced at the man standing at the end. Initially, he thought that as long as the 7 of them remained silent, he did not believe that the descendant of the Nether Sea could do anything to them. However, now that someone had surrendered in advance, he was really angry. I surrender too. Another person said, I surrender too. Sha Shui, Lan Di, and Xiao Yu. The 3 kings suddenly chose to surrender, which caught the other 4 off guard. They immediately felt that something was wrong. Now that the 3 nations had joined forces and surrendered, their power was not small anymore. If the 4 of them did not unite, they could only surrender. You won't lose anything. Don't be so stubborn. Only under the king's leadership can we become stronger and swallow up all the forces that once looked down on you. The old shaman reprimanded at the crucial moment. Faced with such a situation, the 4 of them were in a dilemma. Their faces were pale, and they did not know what to do. Seeing that, the golden-eyed young man waved his hand. The golden bracelet on his wrist shone brightly, and 4 golden rays instantly enveloped the 4 of them. Last chance. I surrender. I surrender. Another 2 people chose to surrender at the critical moment. Now, only He Sui and Tian Kuan were left. At that moment, their faces were pale, and they looked at the others with disappointment. However, the situation was already over. They had no other choice but to surrender. Otherwise, they would be courting death, and their nations would definitely be taken over. Seeing that He Sui and Tian Kuan, who were the most powerful, lowered their heads, the golden-eyed young man laughed. You should have done this earlier. Before he could finish his sentence, a black wheel of light came from the outside world. It pierced through the golden screen and stabbed into the golden-eyed young man's heart. The Mutesi nation hasn't even arrived yet. How can you choose a king before everyone is here? Do you still not respect me, Mutesi? Chapter 2:26. Under the shocked gazes of the 7 kings and priests, a black figure broke through the golden light pillar and walked in. As the Sea King reached out his hand, the light wheel that pierced the golden-eyed boy's throat returned to his hand. Then he walked to the golden-eyed boy who was twitching in disbelief. He reached out his hand and patted his face. What's wrong with being a boss at such a young age? You're still too young. As he spoke, the Sea King swiped the light wheel across the golden-eyed boy's neck. As golden blood appeared, the boy fell to the ground, and the rotating runes in his eyes stopped spinning. Who are you? The old shaman's pupils shrank as he asked through gritted teeth. Who am I? The Sea King turned to look at the old shaman and could not help but smile. Roar! A loud roar came from behind. A Mutesi spirit that was even bigger than the 7 statues appeared. The Mutesi nation. After seeing the statue, the people present already knew the identity of the visitor. The Mutesi nation is not destroyed. The old shaman's face darkened. In fact, the main reason why he changed the topic of the meeting and wanted to merge the 8 nations was because the Mutesi nation was destroyed. The Mutesi nation had always been a fishbone stuck in his throat. With such a huge force, coupled with the powerful strength of every king, it was easy for the 8 nations to unite, but it was not so easy to take back the throne. The most likely outcome was that the Mutesi nation would swallow the other 7 sea nations and become the new overlord, instead of reviving the illusory Nether Sea nation. Therefore, when he heard that the Mute Sea nation was destroyed, he was not angry. Instead, he was happy and planned to bring forward the unification plan. However, he did not expect it to end so quickly. Looking at the lifeless golden-eyed boy on the ground, the old shaman's heart trembled. He felt that he had failed Old Wong's trust. How dare you kill your master, you traitor? Smell the death aura on you, and you still dare to come here. The old shaman yelled at the Sea King. Kill my master? He's your master, not ours, right? The Sea King smiled as he looked at the other 7 people. Although the other 7 people did not speak, their expressions were filled with uncertainty. The old shaman knew that the situation was hopeless, but his heart was still filled with unwillingness. However, he had already figured out the Sea King's purpose for coming here. Even if the golden-eyed teenager was dead, he would not let the Sea King get what he wanted. Don't tell me you want to be the king? As far as I know, the Mute clan has long been annihilated. Do you have an army that matches your strength? Upon hearing that, the Sea King sneered. My army is not any weaker than your 7 nations. As his voice fell, countless black shadows shrouded the sea from all directions. Many ferocious-looking creatures of death kept approaching, and their numbers were extremely large. The Death Clan. The old shaman's eyes widened. It wasn't just the old shaman. Everyone present was in slight disbelief, and they even suspected that they were seeing things. This was because the monsters of the Death Clan did not have any consciousness other than the Death Lord. They only knew how to devour and kill. But now they had been subdued. How did you do it? Where's the Death Lord? Hey Sway, who was standing on a nearby platform, asked with a frown. You don't have to worry about that. Now, I'll give you all a choice. Surrender or die. The Sea King's aura was rising steadily. Although he had gone through hardships, he was still the overlord of the Void Ocean, and his domineering aura was still there. I will never agree. The old shaman immediately expressed his stance. What's the point of you agreeing? You're all old, and there's no point in living anymore. The Sea King immediately threw a punch at the old shaman. The old shaman snorted coldly. He closed the ancient book in his hand, and a golden light screen appeared in front of him. Boom! The punch landed on the light screen, and countless ripples were set off, but it did not break through the defense. Just when the old shaman heaved a sigh of relief, he saw the Sea King looking at him with a ferocious smile. The Sea King's fist was surrounded by the aura of death, and it continuously wrapped around his body through the light screen. The parasitic seaweed and other creatures on his body quickly withered and turned into gray powder. He also felt the vitality in his body being sucked away. He wanted to struggle, but he realized that he was fixed on the spot. He had no strength to resist, and he could only age slowly. Under the erosion of the aura of death, the half-dead old shaman finally could not hold on any longer. His body turned into ashes, and he turned into a skeleton. The rest of the people present felt a chill in their hearts when they saw this. They knew that it was going to be difficult this time, especially after the Sea King displayed his absolute strength. In comparison, the golden-eyed teenager was still young, and he still needed their assistance. He even promised them the conditions of being a feudal lord. However, the Sea King, who had absolute control now, might not necessarily do the same. Make your choice. I'll give you a chance. The Sea King turned to face the 7 people and said with a smile. What if we don't want to? Hey Sway asked with a solemn expression. Die. Then I'll surrender. Hey Sway's words stunned the rest of the people present. They knew Hey Sway's character very well. Even when he was threatened by the golden-eyed teenager, he still insisted until the end before agreeing. They did not expect him to agree just like that. Wise choice. The Sea King smiled and gave Hey Sway a thumbs up. I'll surrender too, but I want to know what you're going to do. Tion Kuan asked. Take down Beiki. The Sea King's eyes flashed with a cold light when he mentioned Beiki. Ever since he got involved with Beiki, he realized that everything was not going his way. His fruits were stolen, his treasures were robbed, and the forces of Beiki often harassed his subordinates in the sea. Even the Sea King navy that he was once proud of was destroyed because of it. He was absolutely irreconcilable with this grudge, even though Mu Zhiguang had hoped that he would stop before he died. However, he swore that he would never forget this grudge, even if he fell into the endless abyss. And he did so. The G8 conference this time was another opportunity for him to rise. Right now, he had the power of the Lord of Death, as well as the terrifying undead army. As long as he had the combined strength of the 7 nations, how could he not take revenge? Even if that Lishan attacked again, he would not be afraid. Beiki? Beiki is a land force. Why do we have to take down Beiki? It's not good for our future development. Tian Kuan was confused. I'm the king. My will is the will of the new nation. I don't need you to understand me. You just need to carry out my orders. The Sea King stared at Tian Kuan and said. His domineering aura immediately shrouded the area. Such a domineering Sea King made the people present complain in their hearts. They felt that the Sea King was much harder to serve than the golden-eyed young man. They could already imagine what would happen to them after the Sea King took over the 7 nations. They would probably become his henchmen. Pledge your loyalty to me now and call me king from now on. Your nation will be named Mute. As soon as these words were spoken, the expressions of the 7 people present suddenly changed. They would not have any objections, even if it was renamed to the Nether Sea. After all, this was their ancestral nation. The name was a collection of many ancient glories, so they did not feel that it was a disgrace. However, if it was changed to Mute, it would be no different from annexing them. Pledge your loyalty to me. The Sea King took a step forward. The golden wheel in his hand flew out automatically and began to circle above their heads. This was his gift to Mu Zhiguang. Reviving the Mute Sea nation was the dream that the deceased had been pursuing his entire life. He died for him, so the Sea King would create a new Mute Sea nation to remember his existence. Even though the Sea King had never cared about the 2 words Mute, he remembered the 2 words Big Brother on that day. King of Mute, the cowardly monarch of Sha Shui Nation, was the first to give in and immediately knelt down. And the rest of you? The Sea King glanced at the remaining 6 people. King of Mute. Upon seeing this, the rest of them chose to compromise despite their reluctance. They all knelt down on one knee and pledged their loyalty to the Sea King. Ha ha ha. Great. The Sea King laughed presumptuously. The army of death behind him was like a group of demons dancing wildly, casting a shadow over the hearts of the 7 monarchs present. They were already worried about the future. At this time, the players were still complaining in the official forum. Watermelon_Taro. Are all of you mad dogs? I finally found a death monster in the void ocean, and all of you squeezed your ships to snatch it. Do you have any manners? Shiwali_the_strongest. Recently, the value of the Death Clan has skyrocketed. The Lioli coast is filled with tycoons collecting corpses. How exciting. Crayon_Shinchan. The way you crave corpses reminds me of a tumor. Laughing emoji. _large_wolf dog replied to Crayon_Shinchan. Aren't you a tumor? Gritting teeth. Crayon_Shinchan. Since you're sticking your head out, I'll have to force myself to smile and touch it. Laughing emoji. Cheated_8K_dollars. Trash Sea King. I strongly request the officials to strengthen the Sea King again. Crayon_Shinchan. I have an idea. Why don't we invite Huhi the Great Demon King back and make the death seal bigger for us? Laughing emoji. As soon as Crayon_Shinchan said this, the forum fell into a brief silence. The scarcity of the Death Clan at this stage was indeed a big problem. Hence, Crayon_Shinchan's suggestion immediately tempted many players. After a discussion, the players organized themselves and sent a mail to Huhi the Great Demon King. In the letter, they promised not to kill him or stab him in the back. All they asked was for him to return to Beiki and dig a seal for them. They were even willing to raise money to hire him. After Huhi received the mail and opened it, he was silent for 3 seconds. Then, he quickly threw it into the trash can. Bastard, you still want to trick me by digging a seal and then torture me. I won't believe you even if you write a contract now. You bunch of impolite demons. A certain great demon king gritted his teeth. Then, he glanced at the European server players who were surrounding the resurrection point. Don't think that I'm afraid of you. Just you wait and see after I refine Hitterigami. Upon seeing this, the surrounding European server players raised their heads and glanced at him. Then, they continued to chat, play chess, and eat. Chapter 227. The Bakey players were helpless against he who refused to come back, no matter what. They could not understand why he, the great demon king, who loved to dig up seals, changed his mind. Was the European server really that fun? However, since he was unwilling to come back, the players had to rely on themselves. Since it was difficult to snatch the death monsters from the surface of the sea, they could only go underwater. A large number of players began to use spiritual materials to cultivate the underwater stealth ability of the spirit ship, preparing to dive into the sea to search for the Death Clan. The players came up with all sorts of tricks, and they managed to develop many underwater warships. They began to dive into the sea and intercept the death monsters that had yet to surface. However, the players who did not cultivate the underwater warship function were instantly displeased, and it almost caused an internal conflict among the players. Luwu was also helpless about this. It seemed that the new expansion pack was too rich, and the players' desire for the Death Clan was too strong. As a result, there were waves of protests in the forum requesting for the Sea King to be strengthened. They did not even have the authority to do so. On this day, Lu Wu was cultivating, and Bailey stood beside him, staring at him attentively. Is it done? I think I've reached my limit. Lu Wu opened his eyes as he looked inside his body and realized that the energy had become viscous. Yes. Bailey squinted her eyes and smiled. Then, she waved her hand, and the soul power in the artifact overflowed and entered Lu Wu's body. As the soul power and the energy in his body came into contact, Lu Wu's face revealed an expression of enjoyment. As the soul power filled up his body also began to change. After months of cultivation, the moment that Lu Wu had been looking forward to transforming into a human again had finally arrived. He had reached the required realm, and what he lacked now was enough soul power to make the energy in his body change qualitatively. Lu Wu had plenty of soul power at this stage, and he did not mind using it on himself at all. His body continued to change under the transformation of the soul power and slowly returned to his original form. When he felt that his body was bloated, Lu Wu stopped Bei Li's soul power injection. After the energy fluctuation subsided, he stood up slowly and clenched his fists. He felt that his body was full of energy, and his skin became smooth and delicate, with obvious muscle lines. He had also comprehended all the abilities that Tao Wu mastered in its initial form. His strength had reached the peak of the Ghost Supreme Commander, and he was only one step away from entering the Ghost General realm. Becoming handsome. No, becoming strong felt so good. The 1 million soul coins were well spent. Lu Wu turned around happily, only to find Bei Li standing motionlessly at the same spot with her eyes closed. Lu Wu was stunned. He lowered his head to look at his lower body before dashing toward the wardrobe. He had gotten so used to running around naked in the past few months that he had forgotten to wear clothes. After getting dressed, Lu Wu returned to his room. He looked at Bailey, who was still covering her eyes and staring blankly at the same spot. He could not help but sigh. "Little Lee, I'm done." Bailey slowly put down her hands. Her face was so red that it seemed as if it could drip water at any moment. At this moment, Bailey felt like she was in shock. "This is too scary. I'm just a kid, but I actually saw it. I'm going blind. I'm going blind." Just as Lu Wu was about to speak, the phone on the sofa rang. After giving Bailey an apologetic look, he quickly walked to the sofa and picked up the phone. "Hello, Mr. Liu. I'm the representative of the Jieda Technology Company. I would like to invite you to discuss the incompatibility issue of the game." "Oh, incompatibility? There's nothing I can do about it. The optimization of this lousy game is so bad. It's given me a headache, too," Lu Wu said impatiently after knowing the identity of the caller. The Jieda Technology Company had called him several times to negotiate, but Lu Wu rejected them all. In Lu Wu's opinion, the actions of the Jieda Technology Company were no different from trying to kill everyone. If it were not for the strong stickiness of Battle Online's players, it would have been destroyed by the Jieta Technology Company. Therefore, Luwu naturally did not treat them well. Mr. Liu, I think there really is a misunderstanding between us. This time, I sincerely invite you to discuss cooperation. We are willing to offer double the profits of the Black Sea Technology Company to resolve the misunderstanding you have against us. On the other end of the phone, the representative of the Jieta Technology Company was sweating profusely. Due to the problem with Battle Online, they not only lost the market in Dragon Nation, but also received a lot of negative reviews. Initially, they were not satisfied with Lu Wu's suggestion. In a fit of anger, the higher-ups decided to fight to the end. They thought that even if they gave up the market in Dragon Nation, there would still be plenty of other markets for them to choose from. That was the truth. However, that was until the European server of Battle Online was launched. This time, the higher-ups of the Jieta Technology Company could not take it anymore. They kept explaining to the players who bought the gaming pods that they were negotiating. At the same time, they contacted Wu Guai, hoping to negotiate with Battle Online to remove the ban. However, Lu Wu chose to ignore them. This gave them a huge headache. They could only watch as their market share was slowly swallowed up by the Black Sea Technology Company's gaming pods that were released later than them, and their performance was not even as good as theirs. However, what made them even more desperate was yet to come. Not long ago, they received news that Battle Online was going to be launched in America. This news was like a bolt from the blue to the higher-ups of the Jieta Technology Company. Previously, they might not have thought that a game could change the sales of their high-performance products. However, reality slapped them hard in the face. They had witnessed the terrifying influence of Battle Online twice, and these two times, they had suffered irreparable losses. Therefore, they were filled with fear towards this news. They could even imagine what would happen next. Therefore, the higher-ups of the Jieta Technology Company could no longer sit still. They came directly to Dragon Nation and found Wu Guai, the only person who had contact with Lu Wu. They requested to meet Lu Wu several times. This was also the nth time they had called Lu Wu. This time, they did not even need Lu Wu to say anything. They offered a high price and were willing to give Lu Wu 5% of the profits of the gaming pods. Although the Jieta Technology Company came with sincerity, Lu Wu knew that they would not lower their heads if they were not forced by the situation. He could only say that they deserved it. Therefore, Lu Wu still chose to reject them. As for the fact that they were willing to give him double the profits, Lu Wu did not really care. After all, he was not interested in money. Moreover, the Black Sea Technology Company chose him, so naturally, he would not let them down. Most importantly, the Black Sea Technology Company did not forget about him even when they were selling the gaming pods. They had already offered him a 5% commission. Faced with Lu Wu's rejection once again, the representative of the Jieta Technology Company turned pale. This was not the first time, and he felt that he was very sincere. However, he did not expect Lu Wu to not give him any face. If Battle Online were to be launched in America, it would be too late. As he thought of this, he spoke again. Your actions have violated the Consumer Rights Protection Act. I can sue you for your unfair competition that forced the players to choose the gaming pods of the Black Sea Technology Company. The voice on the other end sounded exasperated. Lu Wu sighed when he heard this. I've already said, it's a problem with the game. It's not that I don't want it to be compatible, it's a bug in the game. As for whether it can be fixed, that's my problem. Moreover, I've been short on funds recently, and I can't afford to pay the R&D staff. So let's just leave this bug. It's not a loss to me anyway. Hearing Lu Wu's words, the person on the other end of the phone was speechless. Just as Lu Wu said, if he insisted that it was a bug in the game that caused the gaming pods to be incompatible, he would not be able to sue him. Just as Lu Wu said, whether or not the bug in the game could be fixed was entirely up to them, and the Jieta Technology Company was powerless to interfere. At this moment, the representative of the Jieta Technology Company really wanted to say, I'll pay for your R&D so that they can fix it as soon as possible. However, he knew that all of this was unrealistic. This was also the method they had used to ban Battle Online in the beginning. They wanted to use this method as a warning to other game manufacturers, but they did not expect that they would end up harming themselves instead. However, it was too late for regrets now. After the call was hung up, the representative of the Gietta Technology Company was silent for a moment. Then, he unlocked his phone screen and made another call. Chapter 228. Who is it? A deep male voice came from the other end of the phone. It's me, the head of the Gietta Corporation's technology department, Abel. What's the matter? The voice asked again. I think the boss has already informed you guys. Now that Plan B can be carried out, I'm just here to inform you guys. After a moment of silence, the person on the other side said, I understand. How many test subjects do we have? Abel asked again. Number 1 and number 3 can be used. Most of the other experimental subjects are dead, and the remaining ones have been sent out to carry out missions. Have you found 410 and 423? No, I don't think it's possible to find them. They didn't leave any marks on them, and it's impossible for us to search the entire world for them, so we've already given up looking for them. Then I want number 1 and number 3. Ask them to come to Chi Dragon to find me. I've sent you the address. Okay. The person on the other end of the phone hung up after a clean answer. After the screen went dark again, Abel's face showed a little ferocious. He had witnessed the strength of the superhuman experimental weapons. They all had inhuman strength. He believed that nothing would go wrong as long as the Chi Dragon government didn't interfere with the plan. Initially, they did not intend to use this trump card. After all, this was related to the Gietta Technology's secret human research laboratory. If it was exposed, the consequences would be dire. But now, he felt that Lu Wu had gone too far. If he did not stop him, his market share would continue to slip away in the future, and things would get out of hand. This was their plan B. Since the soft approach didn't work, then the hard approach would work. After ending the conversation with the representative of the Gietta Corporation, Lu Wu once again turned his head to look at Bei Li, who was still in a daze. After some thought, Lu Wu decided not to disturb Bei Li and let her calm down. So he turned around and went to the bedroom. After opening the forum, Lu Wu, who had the highest authority, started to browse through the players' posts like a god. Delete all pornographic pictures. All those who spread rumors, delete them. All abusive posts that affect the harmony of the forum will be deleted. Most importantly, delete all the public displays of affection. After deleting a batch of posts, a player's livestream post caught Lu Wu's attention. The Sea King has risen. Don't doubt it. Come in and see for yourself. After Lu Wu entered the live streaming channel, he realized that the player was currently at the coast of an island. There were many different forms of intelligent marine creatures around him. It seemed to be a gathering place for creatures on some island. At this moment, this player, as well as the intelligent creatures around him, were surrounding a pillar that looked like a bulletin board. They were craning their necks to look at the words on it. Fortunately, the game had a translation function. Although the players could not understand these words, they could easily decipher them with the help of the artifact. Announcement from the Void Ocean. Although I have lost the Sea King Navy, the Void Ocean is still my territory. Those who dared to plunder my territory and resources during my absence will be dealt with one by one when I return. At the same time, I will announce to all living beings in the Void Ocean that I have obtained the support of the 7 nations of the Void Ocean, the Kolong Ocean, and the Jade Spring Ocean. I will hold the founding ceremony of the new nation, Mute, on the Shinma Island of the Kolong Ocean 3 days later. This king welcomes all factions that are willing to form an alliance to participate. Seeing this notice and the seals of the 8 countries printed below, the creatures around the players revealed expressions of horror. Some of these creatures belonged to the forces that the Sea King said he would deal with in the future. Some of these creatures were weak to begin with. They were afraid that the bloody storm caused by the Sea King's return would affect them. All of a sudden, everyone was panicking. They never expected that the Sea King would not become weaker after losing the Sea King Navy. Instead, he had subdued the 7 nations and become even more powerful. This was definitely not good news for them. Meanwhile, the players who learned about the situation through the live broadcast in the forum became lively. Watermelon_Taro. The Sea King is awesome. The Sea King is invincible. I'm the first to agree that the Sea King wants to build a new nation. Shiweli_, the_strongest. The exciting moment has arrived. Our Lord Sea King is going to rise again. Congratulations from the forces of Bakey. Peppa_Boar. I've been looking forward to it. Finally, it's time for the Sea King to strengthen himself. I would like to thank Battle Online, the planners, the developers, and Strike_Gold. Oh my God, the Sea King is really working hard. After falling down again, he actually stood up again and unified the 7 nations. Amazing. Assassin's Creed. Why do I like this villain more and more? No wonder he's #1 on the top villain popularity leaderboard. He's so cute. Laughing emoji. Crayon_Shinchan. Didn't anyone notice something important? The nation founding ceremony will be held in 3 days. I've already told you the address. Is there anyone else who wants to send a congratulatory gift to our Lord Sea King like me? Even if you can't, you should at least go and congratulate him. The captain of the demolition officers replied to Crayon_Shinchan, "Damn, that makes sense. Our most popular villain is about to build a country. We have taken so many treasures, experience, soul coins, and spiritual materials from him. We have to congratulate him. Cultivation of longevity. Let's go, let's go. War is war, but I have to go and congratulate them. This old man will bring some of the Wood Spirit clan's fine wine this time. A big wolf dog. Oh, I'm going to broaden my horizons. I'm going to. Taoist_zombie_hunter. I want to go, but I can't get out. Sigh. Crayon_Shinchan replied to Taoist_zombie_hunter. Catch a great demon king on the spot and interview him. When will the great demon king destroy the player's camp? Now that you have dug out the seals underwater and on land, when will you dig out the foreign forces in the sky? Laughing emoji. Taoist_zombie_hunter replied to Crayon_Shinchan. Knife dripping with blood. This news made the players excited. They all expressed that the Sea King had to show respect to the nation founding ceremony. Not only did they have to go, but they also had to bring the most sincere gifts and blessings from the Bakey army. All the players felt that the Sea King was too hard-working, unlike the Rock Ghost King and the Hydra King, who only knew how to defend their own territory. They did not know how to expand the scale of their subordinates and strengthen their own forces. To the players, a boss like the Sea King was simply a treasure vault that could upgrade itself. Moreover, it was an inexhaustible treasure. Every time it fell, it would survive and bring more resources to the players. This time, the players sincerely wanted to form a group to visit the Sea King and send their blessings. The players had even begun to discuss what kind of gifts they should prepare for the Sea King in the forum. Luwu did not know whether to laugh or cry. The players were really a malignant tumor in the underworld. The Sea King was already in such a miserable state. It was not easy for him to build a new nation happily, but the hostile forces in the eyes of the Sea King still wanted to send their blessings. Wouldn't the Sea King die from anger? He could already imagine the chaotic scene at that time. However, Luwu was not worried at all. After all, the players were immortal. They could do whatever they wanted, so he just let them be. Moreover, the Sea King's founding ceremony was also a good thing for Luwu. Now that the players were complaining about the lack of monsters from the Death Clan, this would be a good distraction for them. Chapter 229. On the second day of the Sea King's founding, the players once again ushered in an important moment. The long-awaited guild base auction was about to begin. The players knew very well what a guild base represented. Not only could it expand the size of the guild, but it also had many internal training facilities that could help the players grow stronger. There were also entertainment facilities that could enhance the cohesion of the guild. It was a treasure that every guild wanted to own. However, only 149 of them would be sold in this auction. This was undoubtedly a drop in the bucket compared to the current number of guilds in Bakey. However, even the small guilds wanted to give it a try and had not given up yet. Many guilds began to consolidate the soul coins of their members in advance, planning to give it a try in this auction. After all, this auction was not just about one person, but the improvement of the entire guild. It was beneficial to all members, so naturally, everyone had to work together. The auction for the base was still held in the core area of Bakey, the Mansion of the Dead. An hour before the auction began, a large number of players had gathered there. The forum was even more lively. Everyone was advertising and cheering for their respective guilds, as well as predicting which guild had the highest chance of getting the base. However, the style of the forum changed very quickly. Watermelon_Taro. By the way, why is the guild base still being auctioned with soul coins? I feel that Battle Online's daily server maintenance and staff salaries are already a huge sum. I'm afraid they're going to go bankrupt. I'm really scared. Invincible_Loneliness. As far as I know, Battle Online's biggest source of income seems to be the Black Sea gaming pods. Such an excellent gaming team must have a high salary. Moreover, they often produce cinematics and expand the game. These are all money-burning projects. If this continues, they might really go bankrupt. Should we donate some money to Battle Online's boss so that he can pay the owed staff salaries? Facepalm emoji, Shuali_the_strongest. We can donate. I'll be devastated if they go bankrupt. I really don't understand what the team behind this game is thinking. They don't even want money. They're always cheating the players of their soul coins. I really want to wake them up with a hammer. Peppa_Boar. Although Battle Online is very kind, I still want to hammer them to death. The top-up system that I want the most hasn't worked yet. The Sea King's Roaring. JPG, Crayon_Shinchan. There's no need for that. I'm an employee of Battle. Our boss said that we generate electricity with love. Our employees don't need a salary, and we feed them with love. We're a game company full of love. Don't insult us with your stinky money. Crayon Shinchan number 2 replied to Crayon Shinchan. Big brother is right. Crayon Shinchan replied to Crayon Shinchan number 2. Who the hell are you? To Lu Wu's astonishment, the players actually created a donation thread. To save the destitute and starving boss battle, we will not allow the company to close down. The thread was getting tens of thousands of hits every second, and it received a lot of likes and support from players. Even the European server players who did not understand the situation thought that Battle Online was going to close down. Hence, they swarmed into the local server forum and began to prepare to participate in the crowdfunding. They wanted to contribute some monetary support to the gaming team of Battle Online. Luwu did not know whether to laugh or cry. Although he was touched by the gamers' actions, he didn't want the money. After all, the gamers had helped him a lot, and he didn't lack money. Hence, he opened a thread as the GM. To the players, explanation on the crowdfunding issue, official sticker. GM, I appreciate everyone's love for this game, and I can understand why everyone thinks that the game will close down sooner or later if it continues to operate like this. Here, I need to explain to everyone that the original intention of making this game is out of passion. We want to present the best gaming experience to everyone, and income is secondary to us. Also, I hope everyone can understand that the boss is very rich, the kind that can't finish spending, and he has no interest in money. So, forget about the crowdfunding. The boss said that money doesn't matter as long as everyone is happy. Laughing emoji. Finally, the gaming team of Battle Online guarantees that this game will not close down even if the earth explodes. Sincere gaze emoji. Seeing that the GM of the game, who had been lurking in the dark for thousands of years, appeared, the players were instantly excited and swarmed into the announcement thread. Replies, Crayon Shinchan. I caught a GM. May I know if it's braised or steamed? How well is it done? Laughing emoji. GM replied to Crayon Shinchan. Young man, please understand the permissions. My account is easily banned when my hands shake. Laughing emoji. Crayon Shinchan replied to GM. Brother, have some tea. Kneeling down and offering tea. A_large_wolf dog. Crayon Shinchan is finally at his wit's end. Ha. Crayon Shinchan replied to A_large_wolf dog. It's not a problem to pat a dog's head with a smile. Laughing emoji. Assassin_Creed. The game manufacturer is the most confident one. Anyway, he didn't take any money from the players, so he can ban whoever he wants. He's a real boss. Haha. Laughing emoji. Shuali_the_strongest. You keep saying that it's for the sake of everyone's gaming experience. Then why don't you give out some soul coins? Bastard, how stingy are you with soul coins? Are you saving them for the boss to marry his wife? Laughing emoji. But I believe that the boss can marry many beautiful wives in the game with just 10,000 soul coins. Snickering emoji. Cheated underscore 8000 underscore from online dating. The idea of marrying a wife with soul coins is really awesome. My family runs a supermarket. Do you want to pay with soul coins and save up 10,000 soul coins to send a betrothal gift to your father-in-law? Laughing emoji. Peppa underscore Boar. Covering face. My father-in-law is playing this game too. He's always following a small guild and robbing people. He's having a lot of fun playing the game, and he always asks me for soul coins. Your idea is totally feasible. Covering face. Jedi underscore Warrior. Are there any real estate owners? Can I buy a suite with soul coins? Laughing emoji. 6 underscore Nukes replied to Jedi underscore Warrior. That's me. I'll definitely sell the soul coins you have. Port underscore Trash. The local server is an example, and the European server is also an example. When a server covers the whole world, soul coins are the hard currency. I've already made a prophecy. Laughing emoji. Lu Wu's assurance made the players heave a sigh of relief. After all, Battle Online had become an indispensable second world in the hearts of many players. Here, they could experience the super physique that far surpassed the top athletes, display superpowers that only existed in novels and movies, and make many friends that were different from reality. Everything was based on their hearts. It was simple and brutal. If they were unhappy, they would fight. Without the constraints of reality, they would live happily in this world. Therefore, they absolutely could not accept the closure of the game. Now that this question had received an official reply and assurance, the bottom of the announcement post was filled with the words "Long live Battle Online" and "Battle Online is on fire." The post was immediately topped with tens of millions of replies, becoming the most popular post since the launch of the game. Lu was very pleased to see the players being so happy despite being exploited by him. While everyone was discussing, it was soon 8 o'clock in the evening. The bell that signaled the start of the auction rang in the sky above the mansion of the dead. Server announcement. The auction for the encampment has begun. There are a total of 149 cities. The auction will last for 1 hour. The guild that has the priority to purchase the encampment can bid at a fair price. Let's explain the priority to purchase. For example, player A has the priority to purchase the encampment. After the auction starts, if player B bids 10,000 soul coins, player A can bid at a fair price of 10,000 soul coins without raising the price. In this case, player B who does not have the priority to purchase the encampment will have to raise the price again if he wants to purchase the encampment. Otherwise, player A who has the same price will win a bid. However, if both player A and player B have the priority to purchase the encampment, they must raise the price and cannot bid at a fair price. Along with the appearance of the game announcement, a huge screen appeared in the sky above the mansion of the dead. Guild encampments with different design styles were lined up on the screen. The backgrounds of the encampment locations were even more diverse. There were encampments on snowy mountains, by the seaside at dusk, by the lake in the mountains, by the maple forest in autumn, and so on. The various styles were too much for the players' eyes to take in. At the same time, their desire for the encampment grew stronger. A bidding interface also appeared in front of all the players, allowing them to choose the encampment they like to bid for. Game notification. Lu Chai, the castellan of the city of Beiki in the 100 Fortresses Hegemony Tournament. Please have the priority to choose a city. You will get it immediately with no need to participate in the auction. The appearance of this notification made the players below envious. They all cast jealous glances at Lu Chai, who was smiling happily. Boss, snowy mountains. The scenery of snowy mountains is great. I want to build a snowman. Build your ass. How old are you already? Boss, don't choose snowy mountains. Choose a lake in the mountains. The scenery is so great. You can even take a bath there. Boss, choose the peak of Mount Sun and Moon. You can see all the mountains from there. It's super suitable for our guild. Choose the seaside. Choose the seaside. I don't care. Choose the seaside. Are you pigs? Boss, don't listen to them. Of course, choose the Sky City. It's the only floating encampment. It's so cool. Lu Chai felt a headache when he heard the arguments of the guild members. He liked all the guild encampments with different backgrounds. However, it seemed that the members had too much of a disagreement and they were almost fighting each other. This made him feel very helpless. In the end, Lu Chai had no choice but to open the voting system on the guild interface and let them choose which encampment they wanted. When the guild members began to vote, Lu Chai looked at Gu Yu and the others with a helpless expression. How frustrating. Upon hearing this, Gu Yu and the other guild leaders gave him the middle finger without hesitation. They disdained to be associated with such a person who took advantage of others. It was really enviable. After 2 minutes of waiting, the result was out. In the end, Lu Chai chose the Sky City, which had 895 votes. Seeing Lu Chai's choice, Yi Shui, who was at the side, suddenly widened her eyes. She felt upset. The Sky City was the only encampment that floated in the sky among all the encampments. She fell in love with it at first sight, but she did not expect Lu Chai to snatch it away. Instantly, resentment surged in her heart, and she cast a death stare at Lu Chai. Seeing that their guild had won the Sky City, the players of the demolition officers raised their hands and cheered. The joy in their hearts was evident on their faces. The selection of the castellan of the city of Beiki has been completed. The auction officially begins now. After the encampment auction officially began, the numbers below all the encampments on the big screen above the Mansion of the Dead began to jump crazily. Many small guilds did not even care about the scenery of the encampment. They just chose the one with the lowest bidding price. As soon as the bidding price was overtaken, they would immediately jump to the next encampment with the lowest price. Even a very gloomy-looking silent forest encampment was overtaken by the price of 10,000 soul coins in an instant. For the small guilds, they knew that they would definitely not be able to snatch the popular encampments. Therefore, they could only choose the remote ones. As for a few popular encampments, the price had risen to a high price of 50,000 soul coins. Fortunately, this sum of money was paid by the guild members. Otherwise, the guild leader would not be able to afford it even if he went bankrupt. Of course, there were a few exceptions. The encampment auction had only started for 5 minutes, and it had already reached its climax. The players below had red eyes and clenched their fists tightly. They were cheering for their own guilds as if they were going to fight to the death. Lu Wu, who was behind the scenes, was delighted when he saw this scene. This was because he could harvest a large number of leeks. This feeling was great.